Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Headbanging Live, gbhblofficial.com for short. As of the time of recording, it's the 1st of July, which puts us 1 month away from Bloodstock. Less than 6 weeks in total. Still feels like ages away, if I'm honest.
Agreed.
Yeah, it really, really does.
I'm not very good at that sort of stuff anyway. I was looking forward like one kind of. I always feel like I've got such a busy life that I only look forward like one kind of week or so at a time anyway. So until it's like tomorrow.
I do mine in blocks. Similar, I do mine in blocks, normally based around what the work shifts are like. And it'll be like, okay, well, what's this block looking like? And as of this weekend, one of my most significant blocks ends. And I basically have one more big block that leads me to the end of July. So that's kind of like how I end up breaking it down more than anything else. But we did figure this was a good time, particularly with the changing lineup and the ending of the Metal to the Masses. The majority of the Metal to the Masses are finishing. The bands have been announced and being added to the stages. More still to come. I believe there's still one or two still to finish up, but a lot of them have been done. The lineup is basically almost complete. There's still some gaps here and there, mainly on things like the Jaeger stage and so on. We figured, all right, there's been a few changes. A few bands have had to drop out here and there over this last couple of months. We haven't looked at the lineup in depth since a few months ago, so why not? Let's go through it, basically. Fast paced, go through it, talk about it as usual, and so on and so forth. But also, we're going to throw some extra things here. And we're going to also do things that we kind of never want to see change about the festival. We talked about this last week at Ionia Fest when we were there, and some things that we wouldn't mind changing as the festival continues to grow. It kind of feels like, I don't know where I'm getting this from. This might just be me, but I watched the live stream, or parts of the live stream, with Vicky and Adam a few weeks ago. Not the one with Violence, the one that was just them two quite recently as of the time recording, not the one with Violence. Anyway, they're talking obviously about getting answering the questions and that stuff and having fun and all that. And every so often they'd say something that had me kind of think that maybe like, not saying that this is the end of a certain period for Bloodstock and then we move on to the next one. That's not what I'm getting. What I mean is more that some changes will inevitably have to happen. You know, they talked about an increase in ticket price, which I think was always inevitable. And I think as long as it's not crazy and reasonable, most people will be okay with. I mean, we all know the cost of everything has gone up. And yes, of course, it directly affects everyone anyway. The cost of stuff goes up and things cost more, but that's also on a personal level. So that balance is always going to be odd, but off and all that. But I'm going to think like after the COVID situation, after the big sort of extra day event we had last year and the popularity based on the fact that Bloodstock was pretty much the only UK festival that was able to happen. This year, things have settled back into a bit of the normality. We've seen that by the fact that Download has happened, Hellfest has happened, Glastonbury has happened, and so on. This very weekend, as we're recording, Tech Fest is currently happening. So Bloodstock doesn't have that same unique position it did last year. So it's kind of like, okay, you know, I think we're going to see like a more, I don't know what the word traditional, because traditional doesn't make sense when you go all the way back to the early days of Bloodstock, but the more what we're used to kind of Bloodstock experience this year compared to the oddity that was last year. And that kind of makes me wonder, okay, cool. Wonder what kind of interesting changes we'll get this time around with still the hangover of COVID, and also like what comes next.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of works two ways at the same time, though, doesn't it? You're right. Like, it was a unique situation they found themselves in. Obviously, being, no one was lucky, obviously, during that time, but in a way, they were lucky around their timing of their festival being later in the summer. You know, I think a lot of it was about timing. You know, and it made for a great like event, and obviously because it was the only one, that meant a lot of people who were like craving music went to it. But then I guess the other side of that is that if there were people that were who only go to festivals for bands, like that big kind of international roster of bands weren't available for booking. Whereas now on the other side of it, if you book the right bands, you can still entice people in because they're all like traveling again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I don't know. I do feel like I feel like everything, like in life, including Bloodstock, has to change, because I think like anything that just stays static or makes minute changes, like, you know, everything else will continue to change and eventually it'll be surpassed by someone or something or out there somewhere. Someone will catch up with you, you know. I think Bloodstock are in a unique. I think they formed a unique position for themselves. Not. I don't mean it like kind of maliciously or anything like that, but like they formed a unique position by themselves by almost creating this family feel around Bloodstock, so that with that sort of thing, you get loyalty,
Of
for,
course.
like for it to a large degree from like say I don't know maybe 30 or 40% of the people that go to Bloodstock will only ever go to Bloodstock because they see it as home or family or whatever, which is something that I don't think like every large sort of scale festival out there is able to do. You know, people are aware, or at least to me, I don't know because I don't go to all of them, but to me, I look at something like a Download, and I know what Download is. It's a massive commercial enterprise, and I see it that way.
Yeah.
But I would only ever go to Download purely based on the band. That would be the only thing that would make me go there.
Yep.
Whereas I think at Bloodstock, for not for everybody, for a lot of people, it's usually like, oh well, I'm already going to Bloodstock anyway. Hopefully, I'll get some bands I like.
Yeah. Well,
It's quite,
I think we've kind of slipped into that nowadays. I think we have
yeah.
into that.
There's only one way that I like, you know, because we are still music driven.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would honestly say that Bloodstock isn't a given for me. Well, it almost is purely because of the bands that are booked. But what I don't need to see like massive headliners to be there, as long as I know it's they're within this genre. The thing that would ever turn me off of Bloodstock, actually, if anything, it wouldn't be like, you know, it would be if they, I guess, tried to mainstream a bit too much. I don't know, like Green Day were playing or something, you know, something like that.
Yeah, it's
like, you know, trying to pull in that Reading and Leeds crowd or something like that. That's when I would start thinking like, because firstly, right, musically, it's not really my thing now, but also like, you know, that's moving quite far away from your roots. So it's not like, oh, it has to be death metal or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, when they try and open their doors to maybe become, I don't know, a bigger festival or get more sellout by booking those sorts of bands potentially, that would be the thing where I'd be looking at it and going, oh, actually, you know, as much as I don't particularly fancy the crowds of Download, if the lineup's better, then, you know, I don't know. So like, you know, I do think like Bloodstock will change. I don't know how much they'll change this year. I think a lot of people are going to be quite nervy this year still.
Yeah.
People putting gigs on, people putting tours on. Some of the bands are still chopping and changing things around. As you said, there are some changes in the lineup.
Yeah.
There have been. There could still be more. You know,
COVID still striking.
I think a lot of people, like, you know, you might see some changes this year, but I think it'll be softly. But, you know, I do think at some point when everything is kind of settled properly again, which might be the next year, and bands are guaranteed, and like you can book a band and it's almost guaranteed to definitely be there and all that sort of stuff, that maybe people will be a bit braver with the changes they make.
Well, that's the reason why I'm talking this about and basically spitballing, as it were, hyperbole to a certain degree, is simply because we are going to throw out some of the things that we would like to stay the same, / things that we wouldn't mind seeing change or be willing to. Some of it might be a bit silly and tongue in cheek on my front, I will say, but we'll get to that anyway. Yeah, so lineup, really, we're going to kind of fly through the lineup because how about you? I don't know how much of it you were paying attention, but I got some serious festival envy over the last couple of weeks. You know, Download obviously happened. I worked night shifts over it while my wife was there, and there were lots of, you know, just even though like overall like the lineup and stuff like that wasn't really to my cup of tea overall, there were enough bands, you know, spread around. It was interesting, but it's more the fact that great weather, festival, just that whole feeling, and then of course followed up by Hellfest, and you know, watching live streams of Hellfest and seeing the lovely weather over there, well, the intense weather over there, and the fact that that was effectively a week-long fucking festival, and even Glastonbury, which is a festival, obviously, no secret, that we would have no interest in ever going to, and this is not just because of the general lineup or any aspect like that. It's so many factors as to why I'll never step foot on that ground. You know, it was nice weather, it was lovely looking and all that, and it was just that festival feel. So I did kind of get that super envy. So that kind of ended up getting me kind of like really reinvigorated, you know, because you get that period, I think, between like January and maybe around May, June time, where like you're getting your Bloodstock announcements periodically and stuff like that. But the excitement and the sort of energy for it just doesn't exist because it seems so far away. So now, like, with what's just occurred recently, and the sort of fact that I looked at the lineup recently and thought, oh shit, this is actually more full than I've remembered. Like I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, and also looking at it and going, there are so many bands here that I even in the last couple of months, I've got to know a little better or learn something about them full stop. I'm actually kind of stoked about it. But that's why I'm really excited for it.
Yep, me too. I'm terrible for excitement. I really am. Anyone who
Yeah.
knows me will tell you I don't get excited by things. I am excited. I'm looking forward to it and all that. But like I said at the beginning, I'm very much I have like, I don't really do it in blocks of work. I have it more of like events, and like I you know, at the moment I've got like something this weekend. I've got something the weekend after. I've got we're going away on holiday for a couple of weeks. Like, you know, like I've got so much shit happening before Bloodstock, and I'm so far behind in every sort of aspect of planning in my life that at the moment I'm more dreading Bloodstock, because I'm like, oh my god, am I even going to be in a good position? Like you know, with everything by the time it comes around. I get excited when, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, we were watching some of the Hellfest videos earlier on, like me and my daughter, Zealanada, and a couple of others, you know, and yeah, aside from the heat, like it looks awesome. You know, don't get me wrong, the heat looks like too much, to be honest with you, but it does look awesome. You know, but yeah, I guess I don't know. It's different. I find it different for me because I don't. I know you've been to Hellfest before. You've been to downloading that. I don't go to them festivals, and so I don't really feel like that kind of envy for it, because I wouldn't have been at them like probably no matter what anyway. You know, you never say never, but like, you know, I've never been like to Hellfest or anything like that now. So I look at it and I go, oh, that's cool. But you know, that's kind of like the end of it. And I've, you know, I've already had like one more festival than I normally do in a year this year with Slam Dunk.
Of course.
I'm still like in a up position to where I normally am, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I know when I sort of asked the question about being excited and stuff like that, it's not, I'm aware, I already kind of know your answer. It's not a lack of enthusiasm. It is simply a busy life and step by step. And of course, you've got so much going on. I mean, literally, I think between now and Bloodstock, I have one gig, just one gig. That's it. Yeah. Really. Yeah. So like, it's really very little beyond the focus on except Bloodstock for me on these videos. All right. Yeah, let's quickly run through this lineup then. Well, quick as we possibly can. Let's kind of get it down. And I guess as we go along, just sort of pull out the ones that you're like super stoked about, more than anything else.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, cool. We'll start with Thursday then. And of course, the 5 bands that are featured on the Thursday. This is the weekend ticket holders only. You can't get a day ticket for this one. It's 5 bands: Sophie Lancaster, Stage, and, you know, we're going to put this out there right now. We are champions of the idea, don't go heavy on the first night. But it's also a rule that we've broken ourselves more times than stuck to. And already I'm anticipating that exact same problem this year, because of the bands on Thursday. It is probably arguably one of the strongest Thursday lineups we've had on a personal level ever, like of all of them. So we're talking Basement Torture Killings, Mother Vulture, Nana War of Steel, Necrogobbler Con, and Dark Tranquility. Dark Tranquility originally were playing the Sunday night, the Sophie Lancaster headliner there, and some switcheroo for whatever reason has resulted in them now being on the Thursday night, which I'm sure Brennan would agree suits us to a fucking T.
Yeah, it was literally I mean, not that I wanted rid of Night Flight Orchestra. It was nothing to do with that. It was more to do with the fact that often by the time the last band of the Sunday plays, I'm already on the road.
Yep.
And I was having real, like, pretty much, like, not exactly literal, but almost literally sleepless nights about what I was going to do about Dark Tranquility. Like, would I may genuinely have to stay? Is everybody else going to be all right? Like, is Gemma going to want to stay and all that sort of stuff? Because everyone's going to be tired by then. And then, you know, how much later will I get home? Am I going to have to sleep over on the Sunday night? You know, like literally racking my brain of what I was going to do. So when this move happened, I was delighted because I have no issue with Night Flight Orchestra. I listen to a bit of it. I think it's fun and all that. And I like Bjorn a lot, just generally. So that was already, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to check out. But yeah, Dark Tranquility being there, like, it's just literally brilliant. It's the perfect move. Like, I couldn't move very little other things around in any other direction. Like, that would have been more perfect for me than to take Dark Tranquility out of the day when we don't drink as heavily or anything like that, and put them on the opening the festival night.
Yeah.
Like, yay.
It is fantastic. But also, like, you know, Necrogoblicon have released a banging new album recently. Nano or Steel have been a bit of a bucket list band for me. I really enjoyed them. Mother Vulture, another great band, and Basement Torture Killings. What an opportunity this is for them to open the festival. I think they're going to shock a few people who may not be too aware of what they're like and what they sound like and stuff like that. But, you know, the fact that the first band at a festival guarantees you kind of get that interested crowd to begin with. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thursday is just excellent. It's an excellent day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we will be drinking heavily.
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to drink too heavily, but I know it's gonna be messy. All right, let's go stage by stage then, starting off on the Friday from the very bottom, starting with the first few bands that were on the Jägermeister stage. We have Swamp Coffin and Certain Death. That's the two bands that are playing on the Jaeger stage. Quite interested to see Swamp Coffin.
I don't know anything about either band. I'm imagining Swamp Coffin or some sort of doom or sludge band by the fact they have the word swamp in their name. Certain Death are probably a death band. Yeah,
it's got that kind of sludgy sound. You're right. All right, then we get the New Blood bands. So these are the set of New Blood bands as they're positioned right now on it. So we have Erosis. We have Existentialist. I can't say it. Existentialist. Thank you. Fucking hell.
Essex winners.
Yes, exactly that. Catalyst, that's a band we've covered quite a bit in the site. In fact, last couple of EPs and their debut album. Most recently, I think as the time recording, the last week, their latest EP is out, and they're an awesome band. So really cool to see them there. Happy to see them. Haint, don't know them.
No.
Funoth. Pariah. What else we got? I'm having to click on these actual bands because some of the low.
That's what I'm doing. The bloody Bloodstock website. Whenever you click on one, it brings you back in at the top of the page when you back out of it.
Vermin Throne. And right at the very top, although I don't know if it means they're like the headline or the last band down. It's Fire Sky, probably the band of the entire New Blood weekend that I'd say we're the most familiar with.
Yeah. Can't wait to see them. It'd be great. I haven't seen them for a while.
Yep, well deserved. They'll win in Kent as well. Okay, Sophie Lancaster stage. So at the moment we've got Crepitation opening the Sophie stage. Bit of death grind, brutal slam, death, something heavy to start your morning off. In Human Nature, thrown into Exile. Party Cannon, of course. Party Cannon was supposed to be at the festival last year, and at the very last minute were unable to attend. I believe, if I remember, it was COVID related.
I can't remember. I think it was. I think most things that were last year, weren't they?
It must have been, because I can't really see why they wouldn't. But yes, they're obviously back on the bill now, and I think it's going to be one of the most popular. That's going to be a Ram tent. That is going to be a Ram tent.
Yep, agreed.
Banging and Forster up next. In fact, you'd argue the rest of this freaking day on the Sophie stage, you could just stay there, because you get Enforced, you get Heart of a Coward, you get Discharged, you get Heathen, you get I Hate God. So you get a lot of heavy music with just the right amount of variety in a row. Before you then hit what is also going to be one of the packed tents, but also I now believe, having watched their Hellfest live stream and sort of seeing like how they're performing nowadays and what it looks like and what's going on, might actually be a were you there moment. And it's Avatar in the Sophie Lancaster tent. This is, of course, a stunning position for them. I'm not going to reiterate why. I think vaguely remember it being said, basically, Avatar wanted to play. There was no spaces on the main stage, and they wanted to play, and this is what they ended up with. And that itself is an incredible story, and very much in keeping with what I understand Avatar are like. Bear in mind, there are 3 different interviews over X amount of years with Johannes on there, so I've got a little bit of understanding of what he is like, so it doesn't surprise me. But the performances at the moment seem to be based around the idea, or at least what I'm seeing is that Avatar haven't quite worked, not necessarily worked, because they probably have, aren't in a new album cycle. They're not in that at the moment. It's not what they're doing. They're basically doing best of Avatar. Here's our greatest hits over the last couple of albums, well, decades as well. So that alone is super, super exciting for this show. But I also think this is a band that brings it every time. And you can get away with more than you think in the Sophie Lancaster stage. You can. We've been shocked by some of the things we've seen in there. We're like, whoa, that's a ton of pyro. We didn't expect that much. And so on. So, and I already know, like I said, people are going, even if it's a curiosity, this is what people are going to want to see. Whoever's playing against them on the main stage could be a right bit of bother. And if you're in a New Blood of the Jaeger, I really feel sorry for you, man. But basically, this is a must-see for us, I think.
I'll absolutely, yeah. I mean, I might queue up for it at like 10 in the morning and just wait. Hold on to the barriers at the front. Like, I'm not moving for everybody else, for getting kicked in the head through Party Cannon while I'm not moving for Avatar. But now, like, I can't. I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm obviously. It's weird. I'm a massive fan of them, but I always like. I haven't been a massive fan for decades. I'm just a massive fan of the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, 3 years, something like that. So I'm really, really, really excited to see them. And I actually kind of when they were first announced for the Sophie stage, I was and then obviously I think the natural thing or for me it was my natural thing to do was be like, oh, but they're not the headliner. Oh, they're only going to get like half an hour or something like that. That's not right. But I think actually because of their position and then the big gap afterwards, so like they can basically fuck that stage up, and like it's not a problem because it's not a 15-minute changeover to Sleep Token, is it? Because it's the main headliner and then back for Sleep Token. I know there's crossover between like
not much though,
No, but it's not much. So it's like a sort of a sub-headline slot, really, isn't it? It's not a half-hour slot. They probably will have more time than that. I think I remember seeing ages ago when they got announced and people were asking the same question that, there's something special was being done for Avatar to make sure that they had time to give an Avatar performance. An hour. Yeah. So essentially, a guest headliner as such, but like a guest headliner on the main stage, but in the Sophie tent. So yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. I mean, for me, like very little can go wrong with that because I'm such a fan of so much of their music that there's little, unless they came out and they were like, we're only just going to do like our first ever sort of EP when we were 14, like we're just going to play that with not, we're going to just strip back show guys, just doing that on acoustics or something like that. I don't think they're going to do.
No,
there's very little that they could come out and play that's going to make me go, oh, not this one. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just going to be like, yay. So I can't wait for that.
Have you seen any of the Hellfest live stream for them?
I haven't watched it. I know my daughter was watching it the other day. I know Gemma was watching it the other day. I've watched a lot of their live shows, and I'm kind of like staying away from it on purpose now because I want to just wait now. Like, do you know what I mean? I know it's coming. I want to go in there and just be like, yeah, bring it.
No, that's fair. I completely get that. We're saying no more. We'll move on then, because we're gonna get stuck in Avatar. Avatar's a
let's talk about Avatar for the next hour.
Yeah, we have. Obviously, if you watch our track by tracks, mine and Brennan's track by tracks tend to be the longest ones we go, normally hitting around the 20-minute mark compared to maybe the 10 minutes for me and Lou. But if you look at the Avatar one we've done for Black Waltz, that passes 30 minutes. That should give you a kind of clue how long we can talk about Avatar. But the last one for Friday, it is one of the more intriguing bands and likely to garner a huge audience again, even if for a lot of people it's curiosity. It is, of course, the beast that is Sleep Token, a band that I've listened to, and I just don't quite see what other people see, in the sense that I don't get that whole wow, amazing thing. I think, yeah, cool, interesting. But not like, wow, I may end up seeing a bit of it just because I haven't seen it live.
Yeah, I get that. I'm also not particularly a fan. I find the idea of them more interesting and exciting than the music. I like the whole covered stuff, like, oh, who are we, all that sort of silliness. But when I see pictures of the band, I like pictures of the band more than I do when I hear them play, and that's obviously the issue.
It's the ghost issue for you again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but like it's not vocal or anything like that. Like that turns me off of them. I just don't really find anything. I haven't yet found anything in the music that I'm really into. But it's that whole, like, you showed me a picture of that. I like, I don't know, I'm thinking this is some sort of fucking extreme black metal or something like that, you know what I mean? And that's the problem in it. I think sometimes you see something like with Ghosts, it gives you an idea so it almost sets the bar at a level, so like of a certain genre, and then when it comes in and it's so very different, it's very difficult to like sync it up. I eventually got my head around what Ghost were trying to do thematically, but then I just could never get past the vocals anyway. So whereas these, I don't know, it doesn't quite click. I don't really get it. I might dash in there to get a quick view of what they look like on stage, and then try and get that before they play anything.
Watch them come out on stage, and that's it. But I think it's probably up there as Dan's one of Dan's most anticipated bands. In fact, what we've already kind of run through, when we eventually get around to, of course, nearer the time when the lineup's pretty much complete, doing our top 10 bands we want to see at the festival, I think both of us have named several of them already. But there are more.
There are more.
We're going to start with the main stage for the Friday, and generally, not only am I absolutely so pleased for this band, I'm now more excited for it than ever, thanks to the current recent run of shows, from doing the Download, Dogtooth stage, I think it was like the first day, to Techfest. They're just on fire at the moment. And it's such a deserved slot for them because they've also played the smaller stages too. Opening the main stage is Red Method. And I can't wait. I think this is going to be such a fucking moment, man.
Yeah, I think it's great. It really, really is great. And they're a hard-working band, and they're also really nice. Yeah. And seeing them get that chance, I think it's fantastic. So yeah, I'll be there.
Yep, make sure you check it out, people. All Hail the Yeti. Obviously, it's a name I know, but to be honest, this is a band I've never really given much time. So I couldn't really sort of say how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm the same, actually. I've seen the name forever, but I don't think I've ever listened to anything by them. So I don't know. Maybe I'll catch them this time.
Yeah, maybe. Sorcerer up next. I like a bit of Sorcerer. I don't know if it's your kind of jam, although it's a bit more melodic than that, really. It's just old school heavy metal with a bit of doom mixed in, stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the old school heavy metal part of it.
And in complete contrast to that, Bloodywood, different position when they were originally booked for last year as well. Bloodywood, they're a popular band. A lot of people don't really like it because obviously it's a sort of modern mix and play on new metal elements as well as anything like that. Personally, I think they're great. And I think they're so energetic that this is going to be a fairly cool house show.
I wouldn't personally go as far as I don't think they're great. Mm-hmm. But I do like them, and I also think it's really cool, how far they're coming from, and that sort of thing. The idea of like the traditional parts of the music.
Yep.
But it is a big old fucking mixing pot of music, man.
Oh, it is.
It's like, it's a metal band that uses some traditional Indian instruments, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then you hear the rest of it, and you're like, okay, that wasn't the whole story, was it?
Oh, I love that. All right, Doyle. So this is, of course, Doyle of Misfits fame and stuff like that. Probably, without being too mean to the legend that he is, I've got no interest in this at all. I've got nothing here.
No, I haven't either, but I've also never seen the Misfits or any member of a Misfit separately anywhere ever other than in a picture or in a video. So again, I might it's the sort of thing where I'm like, I might just try and catch a few minutes just so I can say like, I saw the Misfits, which I didn't, but I can say that.
Yeah, we saw one member of the Misfits. It's close enough. It's more than
I saw a Misfit.
Yeah, a Misfit. Yeah. Up next is Gwar. I've never seen Gwar live. It's simple as that. I've never seen Gwar live, so I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna check this out. Plus, I'm
really excited for that. I'm a fan of Gwar musically. That's the thing. Like, obviously, Gwar are most famous for, I guess, the gimmick side of it, but they're also a band that've been around for a long time, and they are very, very talented musicians. The gimmick shit and the comedy and the costumes and the gore and the alien story and all that, it sits above like a foundation of really cool rock and metal music.
Yep.
So that's where I kind of became a fan of them. Obviously when I was younger, it was because of the fact that they said stupid shit like "I'm fucking an animal."
Of course.
And then but then as I got older, I was like, fucking guitar solos banging. Like, actually, these are good. Forget about what he's saying. Listen. So yeah, and also I've never seen them either. So I think I'm not brave enough, I don't think, yet to be like too close. I don't want to be covered in any like fake jizz or anything like that. I'm all right to stand back and watch other people get covered in it.
I think Part of me goes, well, you're fourth from top. You're probably not going to bring everything. You've got your own tour coming up a few weeks later. I think if you want the full Goa experience, their own tour is probably where you're going to get it. I think we probably get more of just a sort of less of a visual thing going on here, more music than anything else.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They did a video like the other day, like for Bloodstock. They
I didn't watch that
on their socials.
Yeah,
Doing their whole Goa thing and talking about how they're coming to slay us and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, all right.
And that they're planning to bring it. So we'll see what they bring. Fair
enough. I didn't watch that.
Yeah.
Okay. Exodus. So we're talking thrash here, old school thrashers. Exodus should need no introduction here. A band I'm not 100% sure I've never seen live, but out of that thrash group, probably my least favorite, if I'm honest. So I don't know how excited I am. It might be one of those, if there's nothing else going on, I'm going to watch it. But if there's something I really want to see elsewhere, I look at this kind of timing and I think that's Avatar's time, maybe. Eep. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same. I've never seen Exodus either. I guess from that aspect, if there's nothing else on, I'd watch as much of it as I can, just for the sake of being able to say that I've seen Exodus. And sometimes as well with this music, like we see with a lot of the bands that we end up doing that with, like live can often be a very different experience to what I've listened to on record. So
agreed.
If they're clashing with Avatar, I will not be there.
Yeah, and the same problem might occur with the next band, which is a real pity because although it's another thrash band directly after Exodus, it is one of the strongest thrash bands, in my opinion. It is the Mighty Testament, who have seen live a few times now, killer every single time, and have been wrecking fucking necks with constantly good, strong releases for the last couple of years. You talk about a renaissance, look no further than Testament, arguably surpassing a lot of the people who were higher than them in the thrash catalogue up to this point.
Yep, I also like them. I'm also a fan. And then guest headline starts to get a bit of a longer time, so hopefully we'll catch some of it, if not more. But yeah.
Yep. And it brings us to the headliner, and it is, of course, Behemoth. I'm probably less excited about this than I was when we go back a few years. However, based off the new music that's coming off the new album, this certainly seems like Behemoth have, I was about to say learned a lesson. It's such a dick thing to say, not learned a lesson, but had their experimental fun with the last album, and have got a kind of now taken the elements of that and gone, right, black metal and that, put it all together. And I'm not saying we're getting a Satanist Part 2 or anything stupid like that, but it feels more in keeping with that and the earlier work than it does in modern times. I've really enjoyed what I've heard from this new album, and that's kind of like, okay, cool. And of course, Behemoth always bring it live, man. They're always quite spectacular.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. Very excited. I'm a fan, like the new music. I got the old stuff. And unless I've caught them on shows before, I don't think I've seen Behemoth live before. So this would be a first for me. So I will definitely be there.
Oh, cool. First, I think last time I actually saw them live that's the headline of Bloodstock a few years back. I can't remember what year that was, but 2018 or something like that. But they were good then. All right, Saturday, jumping all the way down to the Jägermeister stage where we've got Boz, Solar Suns, cool band, and Master Charger, another band that was supposed to be there last year and wasn't able to make it. And I think they got replaced last minute by Elimination. Elimination, obviously, a band member down. It was that whole scenario was crazy, but it did really, really well in the end. Master Charger are cool, man. Don't get to see a lot of bands on the Jaeger stage normally because we cannot fucking see the bands on the Jaeger stage. Think of that Tortured Demon from last year and things like that. But any chance to check out even a song or two, you should always take the opportunity, particularly if it's on your way to, say, the New Blood on the main stage, you're passing it, stop for a minute, stop for 5 minutes and check it out, Then we go to the New Blood. And this one, I think, pretty much as full as well. We have Draconian Rain. We have Portal of Ruin. God, guys, you're killing me with your logos, man.
I'm quite interested. Like Draconian Rain's logo is so death metal. It's unreal. Then I went in to look at them, and they're not even a death metal band. They're they sound like really well. They're deathcore with hints of melodic black, but with a symphonic show. Like that sounds quite interesting. But yeah, like fucking hell, that logo, man. Yeah, it says the deathcore band from the UK combining punching breakdowns, harsh vocals with the razor sharp riffage of melodeath and theatrics of symphonic black metal.
It's gonna be something, right? It sounds quite elaborate.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
You've got 30 minutes, guys. Make sure you showcase it. Cast in Taperia. Brutal deathcore, maybe. Yep. Long description. When we have Steel Mage are a cool band. Melodic hardcore. I like that band, so I'm quite happy to see them there. Nova Crow, the name rings a bell. Oh yeah, alt metal band. Head Press, nice easy one to read. Don't know these guys, don't know a name. Collapse the Sky are cool. The guys are really strong as well. Quite excited for them. And Imperium at the very top, kind of thrashy metal. So New Blood's looking quite full in that one. There's a right bit of variety on that one, man. It really is. It actually already looks like there's a lot of bands. Because in the sort of heats, when I was keeping an eye on like a lot of the Metal to the Masters, I was always picking up bands that we've either covered or like noticed, and I've been like, oh, cool, they're playing. I hope they get through. And truth be told, a lot of them really haven't. And the bands I've never heard of are kind of getting through. And I'm like, oh, that's really intriguing then. Like, I'm intrigued what these guys apparently have, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know a lot of them on there at all. Other than a couple of names, but knowing the names and knowing the musically are two different things, isn't there?
Of course.
That's the best thing about the New Blood stage, man. That's where I get my fix. I go in there. What's playing? Oh, cool. New band. Download it.
That's it. Exactly that. T-shirt. We will hold our hand and say, never heard of this band, never heard of this band, never heard of this band. We get the opportunity to check it out. Always take the opportunity. These guys are on it for 13 minutes. If you poke your head in for 10, you get 10 minutes of that set. That's a significant amount, and you can pick up something and learn a little bit about the band and might actually think, shit, this is banging. I'm going to stay for an extra 5. Oh no, I'm going to stay for the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Do it. Particularly if you've got nothing else going on. If you're full belly, you've got a beer, no bands to see, don't go sit in a corner, go in the New Blood tent. Sit in the back if you need to sit down. Sophie stage. And what I think is arguably the strongest set of bands on the Sophie stage since last year, when we had like Sebastian Crown and all that in a row.
That's not a great selling point. The strongest set of bands since the last time they did.
Yeah, since the last fucking time. It really is. We have Mastiff, we have Pupil Slicer, and we have Cage Fight in a row. Shit, man, you could waste every bit of energy you have with these 3 bands alone. All right, Mastiff's a little bit dark, a little bit heavy, a little bit slower at times. You can probably not stand there and just get guttural and heavy with your head and not move too much. But when you hit Pupil Slicer and you hit Cage Fight, there is some more energy in that than anything else. But this way, this is just 3 fucking heavy bands, all doing unique takes on their own styles of music. This is where I am. This is the 3 bands in a row. You know, interviews aside and stuff like that. Probably the only one I'd like, if I had to miss, would be Pupil Slice, but it's only because I saw Pupil Slice a few months ago, but I'd really rather not, do you know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing. Whereas Mastiff is like one of my most must-see bands.
Yep.
Particularly as the fuckers announced a UK tour and put the London date on the exact same night as another gig we're already at.
Oh, really?
29th of October.
Who else were we meant to see them? Oh, we were meant to see them with Avatar, weren't we? That was right. There was thought in Avatar, weren't they? And then that got cancelled or delayed. Yeah.
Yeah. Take this opportunity at Bloodstock. Then we get Kyra.
Oh, Kyra, I think. I don't either, but I'm intrigued by them actually because they're not a super group because they're all ex-members of other bands. But I was just looking at them. The vocalist is from Amaranth. Lead guitar from Shining, Jesper Stromblood from X In Flames is the rhythm guitarist.
Yeah.
Guy from Camelot's the drummer. X the Crown Engel on the other guitar. So it's essentially like an ex-member supergroup. So I'm thinking of the bands that are in there, you know, so you're talking Camelot, Amaranth, In Flames and stuff like that. I'm kind of Melodeath kind of era.
I can see what you're thinking at. Yeah, I can see the direction you're going in. Absolutely. Defects have a similar kind of thing, although not so much the big names. in regards to like their actual names, these guys are like seasoned musicians as well, spending years with other projects, including multiple albums alongside acts like Maiden, Bring Me the Horizon, Disturbed, Bullet from Valentine. So kind of get two in a row that are quite similar there. Blood Youth. Blood Youth, a band I think a lot of people will have heard and picked up on. I'm very aware that this is a young, up-and-coming band with a lot
I don't really know a lot
fury.
about them, but then I was just reading the little thing on them, and then it said like about the bands that they toured with, and my instant thought was, oh, I assume Dan likes Blood Youth. But it was like they toured with While She Sleeps and this band and that band, and I was like, oh, okay, Dan's gonna like Blood Youth.
Black Tongue are awesome band. Deathcore, very, very heavy deathcore though. So they're really, really cool. A band that, kind of obviously a famous big name within the black metal era. It's Samael. But a band I've never seen live. And that's kind of made it go, all right, cool. It's a black metal band, an old school black metal band as well. Probably going to have to check a bit this out.
They have a lot to say as well. Did you click into them?
I did, but it just scrolled down. Holy shit.
It goes on forever.
Oh my God, I'm using my iPad and it just keeps going down.
Usually it's a paragraph, guys. Jesus Christ, not the whole fucking autobiography.
Amazing.
But yeah, like I mean, it's that whole thing. Like I know the name. I've probably heard music from them. I know I've never seen Samuel live. So yeah, and yeah, I don't get a whole plethora of black metal. So when there's one on, I think we did that last year, didn't we? We went along to see Agrona. What's the Welsh band? I can't remember who it was. One of them, Agrona. And it was like, oh, let's go and watch a bit of black metal, and then it was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome, brilliant. Yeah. So this could be one of them. Yeah, absolutely. Which then brings me to the next band, a band that I genuinely was like, who are these, and why are they so high on the bill? Ferocious Dog. I'll admit I've never heard of it, and then I read the description, and a part of me goes, shit, this could be a lot of fun. Like, this could actually be really refreshing. Celtic folk infused punk rock slotting between Billy Bragg and the Levelers. And I'm like, shit, this might be, as I said, quite refreshing to have at this point. Yeah, I think this could be really good fun. It kind of gives me Slam Dunk vibes, actually. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, oh, this could be good fun, beer in hand, jump around a little bit. Yep. But it, like, I mean, the thing that confuses me on it is like they're so high up for where they are. They must be a lot bigger than I realized. Like in terms of the lineup. And then I was reading, like, same as you are, the festivals they performed at, as well as obviously performing in places like Dubai, Bearded Fury, Farmer Phil's Festival, Glastonbury, Beautiful Days. So at the same time as being intrigued by it, I find it a little odd, but like in an intriguing way. We ain't got a clue. Maybe have they sneaked one in there? Is this the switch over? Is Green Day next? But we do, to be fair, like that kind of whole Celtic infused punk rock sounds like to me. I go, oh, like Dropkick Murphys. That's gonna be great. That's it, right? That's exactly where one goes. Yeah, and we got no problem with that. We have a lot of fun with that stuff, particularly in the right alcohol-infused mood. Bring us to the headliner, a band that you don't need alcohol to enjoy, but you certainly don't want to have a beer if you're in the pit in your hands, because you're going to fucking lose it. It is, of course, the Beasts. The fucking beast that is Malevolence, a band I've seen live a few times now. Always blow me away. I'm always too frightened to get anywhere near a pit, because those kids be crazy and I'm getting old. They are. So I'll stand back and watch this and just thoroughly enjoy it, particularly as obviously, of course, new album out recently as well, which is a banger. Saturday night headliner of the Sophie Lancaster stage. More than excited about this one. Yeah, I think it's great. I think they're a really strong band, man. I held off a little bit at the beginning, not the beginning of the video, but I mean the beginning of people starting to, oh, Malevolence this, Malevolence that, and that was a lot of the fact that it was coming from the kids. Yeah. So I was a bit like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. Here's the latest band who sound like everybody else. But the new album is fantastic. And yeah, I've become like a much bigger fan. And I'm not gonna I feel like these guys are gonna be huge, man. I feel like they've got a big future, and I really appreciate the fact that some of the kids may not appreciate it, but I think they know that in order to be of a certain scale, you have to have a bit of crossover appeal. So seeing them do a few tracks with, say, the likes of Matt Heafy from Trivium, I thought was a sweet move, man. And we all know Matt's a big fan of metal, and he likes to jump around and like do stuff with like fucking Emperor, and he'll go anywhere. But the fact that he knows Malevolence did a track with him, I love the fact that to me that broadens appeal and it shows a band with real ambition. Outside of one sort of sub genre, that shows the band looking to be bigger than that. So I think that's fucking great.
Don't miss it, basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Main stage on Saturday. Opening up the stage, as far as I can see, is Based, the Danish metal band. These guys kill it. Love them, absolutely. In fact, saw them a few months back in their wintry months at the Black Heart, and they were killing it then. So great start to your day if you want to go there and headbang. You got much thoughts on them?
I like them enough, but I'm not. I don't know masses of them. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm. Well, it's a weird thing with these bands. Like, I don't think I've ever seen them live, but I also know that they've been on tours or supporting people in the UK for a relatively long time, and I've been to a lot of gigs. So at the same time, I'm like, or have I? But I don't think I have. If I was, I wasn't there for them. So I think it's a great position for them. I think that's fantastic. Again, similar to the kind of Red Method style, like the fact that they're opening up the main stage on Saturday. I think it's fantastic. And also, ain't always a lot more else to do around that time. So if you wandered into the arena, like go and watch the main stage, which is what I'll probably be doing. So,
Lost Society. This is a band I feel I should be more familiar with, but truth be told, I'm not.
No, I'm not either. I thought I saw the name and I thought, oh, I know these, and I went in, I saw the picture, and I was like,
nope,
I don't think I do.
Same. Like I've looked at it. I'm looking at it now. I'm thinking maybe, but I can't be sure.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess we'll try and pick something up before we get to the festival. But the same kind of applies with Spirit World. And this is a band I've never heard of.
No, I got confused originally because of the Spirit word at the beginning. And I was like,
Spirit Box.
I thought it was Spirit Box for some reason, but then I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. But then I've gone into it and it still sounds like pretty cool, to be fair. But it sounds like a very, very, very heavy, fast thrash Slayer like. So
yeah, it's on the main stage.
Bloodstock. Of course, there's a fucking thrash / death metal band.
Of course it is, exactly, absolutely. But talking about bands to get excited about, it is Lorna Shore, a bucket list band for me. So I definitely want to check this band out. I really like Lorna Shore. I like what they do. It's really gonna be quite brutal. In fact, already continuing the brutality on the main stage.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think they're great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Sacred Reich. This is one of those where you kind of go, is it a bucket list band, or is it one of those I've never seen them live, so maybe I just need to tick it off? But then part of me goes, but I don't really care that much about them.
Nah, I'm the same. I want to like Sacred Reich. I always wanted to like. Yeah, it's a stupid thing to say, right? And it's because it goes the same for like Exodus, and it goes the same for another band that will come up on a different day. But like when you love a band and then everyone's all like, oh, this guy came from that band and this guy came from that band. Like Kirk Hammett came from Exodus, and Dave McClain, when he was in Machine Head, had come from Sacred Reich.
Yep.
And that kind of made me want to be fans of those bands more because it's kind of like their origins. But then the problem with Sacred Reich is, and I have listened to a lot of Sacred Reich, whenever I listen to it, it's pretty flat and pretty fucking boring.
Yep.
And I listen to, I hear Dave McClain play the intro to Imperium, and then I hear Dave McClain sort of like tapping a couple of drums there, and I think like, come on, man, I know you can do better than that. So a little bit of me is like, it became a bucket list band because of Dave McClain, not because I was a fan of the band. So in one way, I don't care if I see them or not.
Mm-hmm.
In another way, I may just pop my head in and be like, oh, that's Dave. Right, anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, it's going to be a proper call-up one with their situation, I think, more than anything else. One, I think we'll go out of the way for, and I think a lot of people will just, as much because of the scenario of the world, which I don't necessarily think is, it is great for Ginger, but I hope it's not a reflection on like ignorance over the music, because I think what Ginger do musically are an amazing, amazing thing. But of course, Ginger are going to be here, having received special permission from the Ukrainian government to go out and spread the word. If you watch the Hellfest thing, it's clearly a very emotional time for Ginger. And I think that's going to make this quite a moment. It's a band I'm definitely going to check out.
Yeah, and I do, you know, I agree everything you say. I think a lot of people will be there to try and show support for Ukraine. But I also think, like Ginger, if nothing had happened, they were pulling a crowd anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like they're a big name within metal. They've done very well for themselves, and I do like them. I do like them musically. Weirdly, I don't go out of my way to listen to them, but whenever I catch a Ginger song or anything like that, I always seem to enjoy it. So
yeah,
I think she's got a phenomenal voice, and they're a phenomenal band. So I wanted to see them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like them a lot musically. I probably won't go as far as like draping myself in blue and yellow, just because I don't actually think I own anything blue and yellow. I own a lot of black t-shirts.
Black, yeah.
You know, I'm not going out of my way to buy a blue and yellow one, but I'll be wearing blue and yellow, you know,
in your head,
mind.
Yeah.
And cheering them on musically, and also standing in solidarity as well, because I think we should. I also think I will also say that they're the second best Ukrainian metal band that I know, and the first best Ukrainian metal band have also now been granted a license to tour. So, you know, Bloodstock, if you got any more spaces, they'd probably quite happily jump down slots. So I don't think they'd be expecting to be where Ginger are, but you know, it's a few little spaces on the Jaeger stage or something like that, man.
Yeah, and plus you're still waiting to find out when that postponed tour earlier on the year will be rebooked. Of course, if you don't know what Brendan is talking about, he is talking about 1914. But they're not on this bill, so we won't get into that conversation yet. Anyway, Buried Tomorrow, obviously, again, rebooked from last year. I think right now, you'd probably echo a lot of what you said last year, but I'm going to change mine based on this. I like Buried Tomorrow. I love Buried Tomorrow. I've seen them live a few times, and they always fucking kill it. But guess what, folks? Similar to a lot of you, I haven't seen Buried Tomorrow since the new vocalist came in. New vocalist has been killing on the new tracks, but I haven't been blown away by the new tracks. Like, they're good, they're very good, but I'm like, there's not, I haven't been hooked in the same way. So my interest has waned slightly on that front, but then my interest is also higher on the idea, but well, I want to see this new guy's under a lot of pressure, because obviously Buried Tomorrow, previous vocalist, was quite beloved, and it was a bit of a shock moment when he departed the band.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're more excited than I am about these guys. I don't dislike Buried Tomorrow, I just don't love them. So they're not a bucket list band for me. They're not a band I probably would go out of my way to see unless they were doing something joint with somebody else or something like that, which, you know, I think they've done stuff like that in the past. But you know, it's gonna, for me, is there anything else on? If there isn't, I'll catch them Buried Tomorrow. If there is, I won't. Yeah,
I think it'll be pretty much the same with me, really. If there's something much better on elsewhere, which kind of applies to the next band. I kind of get that people are quite excited for Dimmu Borgir, but I have a massive, it's not like when we've done these videos before, I'm repeating what I've said. I don't trust this band. I have seen this band play wonderful things, but I've also seen this band shit their bed. Now, I know the last time with Bloodstock, they had massive issues and stuff like that, man. But like, oh no, the click track don't work, so we can't play. For fuck's sake, really, guys? Really? But I've also seen them shit the bed at the Forum in London. That was not a good show. So for me, I'm very suspicious of this band, but I still really like them. I really do. I love a lot of the music, and I know they can, when they bring it, like when they're on, it can be spectacular. So I hope it's just that. Yeah, so do I. I really want to. I want to see them. I don't want to see them be shit. Of course, you know, that'd be really disappointing and really deflating. But you know, so I'm going into it with like you know, a kind of clearer mind. I haven't been burnt as many times as you have by them, so I'm just, you know, I'm going in there. They got like the guest headline slot, going to bring a brilliant show and be phenomenal. So here's hoping. Yeah. Which brings us to the headliner. And again, this is no secret. We've talked about this one a fair bit in the past. It is, of course, Merciful Fate, a band I don't think either of us can quite get on board with much at all. This is simply put a headliner that I'm going to watch some of, most of, I don't know, see how that goes, purely because it's Merciful Fate and I've never seen them live. Yeah, I'm the same, exactly the same. I will watch some until I can't take it anymore.
You know, I don't know. Maybe I hold out hopes that they decided like as a one-off special event they're going to do an instrumental set, and that would be cool as fuck. But if they don't do that, I doubt because the problem is that we obviously did we did a Merciful Fate track by track, right?
We did.
I can't remember the name of the album, but we did it, and it had a lot of the big hitters, obviously the ones that are famous. And I had a lot of problems with a lot of the songs on that album, and I know them songs are being played, man. I know they are, and like I don't know, I don't feel like the live environment is gonna like improve them. That's it. I might be wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe we'll watch a bit of it and we'll be like, you know what, actually, this is great. He can't hit those high notes anymore. And actually, this now works at a different tone and it's much better. That'd be quite interesting, but we'll see.
Yeah, and hopefully as well, if we get a visual treat for being a headline slot, that will, be quite a nice distraction as well. Okay, Sunday, back to the Jägermeister stage. 2 bands on there at the moment, Deadlock Saints, and why are you laughing?
Sorry, I was going to do the one you're about to say. I couldn't quite work out if the name was Tombs or Zooms.
Oh,
so I clicked into it. I clicked in and then saw the picture.
Oh, cool. All right. Why are they holding plant pots?
I don't know. They're just standing there holding like they literally they come out of like home base or B&Q and someone's gone, oh, let me get a picture, and then if you that as the band picture.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah, no, it made me chuckle. So yeah, well, it's funny.
Bit of sludge, no harm there. Okay, not many on the New Blood stage for Sunday. This is where a lot has to be filled in. We literally have Sweet May, Taurus, and Sylvain.
Not the Sylvain. Not the, because there is a Sylvain, isn't there? But it's Sylvane.
It is a Sylvain, Sulvain.
Sylvain, right? Yeah. A Nola grunge band
from Northamptonshire. Doesn't quite work, Nola and Northamptonshire, but hell,
cool. But there's a lot of bands still. Well, not a lot, but probably 5 or 6 slots there. So I guess it's whatever remaining Metal to the Masses events. I think there's 2 or 3 left, and then it'll be the list of you're on call, guys. You're on standby because you were also really good.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, Sophie stage then, and Metal to the Masses alumni, Pelugian, are opening this. Big opportunity for them. I like this band, so it'll be cool to sort of see them step up and have a go on this stage.
Yep, great.
Desert Storm. I think they're a bit stonery for a kind of yeah. Bit of mix of everything really. Sludge, doom, post, all that. I know of them, but don't know them well.
Oh, yeah. They got a real fucking mix of oh, sorry, that was bands they've supported. I thought that was bands they were like. I read the list. It was Corrosion of Conformity, Skindred, and it went from that to like American Head Charge, Raging Speedhorn, Conjurer. But I thought they were saying these were bands that they were like, but that was bands that they've supported on tour.
Guilt Trip. This is a sort of crossover metal band. Don't know.
Right. No, I don't know that.
Probably, maybe up there as one of the weekend's odd one outs. And this is purely because it's Scarlet Riot, who they're still a metal band, but like they're certainly leaning towards more of an alt rock kind of sound and aspects like that. And there's nothing wrong with that being a Bloodstock, of course not. And I really like this band. I've seen them live a few times as well, and chatted to them as well in interviews. So check that out over on the channel. But yeah, particularly in their positioning between Guilt Trip and then Noctum that follows. It's like they're in a really intriguing position.
Yeah.
Noctum, black metal. What more needs to be said?
We got a black metal band. Woohoo! Again, I don't think I'd hit that whole thing again, but I don't think I've ever seen Noctum live. I know they've been around a long time, so I'll be hoping to catch these.
Harriet, really chuffed to see these guys here. Saw them supporting Rollo Tomasi and Pupil Slicer at that triple gig earlier on this year. I love them. Love their new EP. Harriet, awesome band. This might actually pull in a surprise crowd.
Cool. I don't know anything about them, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Up next is a band I've been waiting to see for a while. I love this band. Not only that, I think they're so nice. Had a couple of interviews with the front man, and he is adorable. But also, whenever an interview with him goes up, the amount of fan base comments of just how beautiful this man is consistently makes me laugh. There are some thirsty people out there for him. But
They
also
are a great band. Yeah, they are a great band. I'm a fan too. So yeah, I think I'll definitely be checking them out. They also have taken the lead now in longest blurb. They are like twice the length of the one we were just laughing at.
Oh my god, it does keep going. Oh god, it's so okay. All right.
I was born here. When I was 3, I went to this nursery. Like, that's not what they asked for.
Amazing. Okay, up next is one that still makes me laugh because I genuinely have no idea what I'm going to do at the time. My head says you're going to check a bit out because you're pretty sure you've never seen this band live and you grew up on this band. But I also know I don't like this band. It's El Nino.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to probably try and catch some of it for them exact reasons, just because I don't ever seen them. I don't know why. I've got a feeling they might draw a crowd, like, you know, for the same reasons as we're saying here. Like, really? El Nino? I'm going to put my head in there and see it. So yeah, it's a strange one, man. Like, I mean, obviously, if there are other things on that I'm more interested in, then I just won't.
Yep.
But if I've got a gap or something like that, I pop my head in there and might hear the 1 or 2 songs that I think are all right from the Revolution album.
That's it. You I think you want to get there at the start or at the end.
Yeah, it's either the encore or the beginner, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a band name I know, but it's not a band I've given a lot of time to, truth be told.
Yep, same.
Then we're back to black metal. A band I do like, but be honest, I've never loved. It's Belphegor.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat, really. I have a collection of songs on my music player from them, but like nothing, like never a whole album or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got songs by them I like. But it is some proper black metal.
Yeah.
You know, so again, if there's a gap for it, just to get that kind of black metal taste. Although, to be fair, there's a bit of black metal on this lineup, mainly because of the headliner side of things, but you know, yeah, so I might try and check it out.
It could end up being the last band we see in the Sophie stage, because I would say we're off on the road by the time the headliner comes along, and it is a Night Flight Orchestra. Same boat as you, right? Kind of didn't get why people were going crazy. I still don't quite get why people are going crazy over it. I don't quite get that. But having listened to the last album, Aromatic 2, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I was like, shit, because I am a synthy mark. And like the sort of fun 80s vibes and silliness this band has. Silliness, but not in the sense, not say Nanowar Steel silliness.
Yeah.
That I find it fun. Admittedly, because it's a sunny night, because I know I'll be tired, I know I'll probably just be like, I'm just going home. I don't really see it landing for me if I do watch any, really. But if like the energy was there, let's say I'm fucking high powered, I'm suddenly boosted up, I don't know, a last cup of coffee kicks me into gear, I think I'd probably still enjoy a bit of it.
I agree. Yeah, no, there's literally, other than the fact that Bjorn is in the band and I'm a big fan of him, there's nothing about this band on paper that I have any interest in whatsoever. However, I do find them entertaining to listen to, and not like you said, not entertaining as in this is a comedy band. Entertaining as in I feel like I'm listening to. It's a shit comparison, but like fun rock, stadium rock sort of stuff, pop rock kind of stuff, like the Final Countdown by Europe. I feel like I've been transported back a few years, and it's not serious. It's not meant to be serious. It's just fucking fun, you know. And I like that about it. I don't know if I'd love an hour and a half or an hour of it live, but I think if you're in the right frame of mind for it and all that, you could probably enjoy it and have good fun.
Yeah, it's still a cool position. We're still more than happy with the swap. More than happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brings us to the main stage then, last set of bands. And the first one on this list is Vended. You will have heard of this band purely because you cannot find a single press release that doesn't start like this. They're from Iowa, the renowned home of Slipknot, and it happens to have two children of Slipknot members. I think that kind of sucks for Vended because that seems to always be the main focus. But I also get why. I get it. I completely get it because you want to draw the interest of those fans into this. Absolutely. I've heard music by them. I think, yeah, they're cool. I also think, shit, that's a little Slipknotty for my taste. The jury's out of me on this one, big time.
Yeah, I haven't actually listened to any of them yet because everything you said there is what I've read everywhere as well, and it's kind of put me off it a little bit. Just because, I mean, I'll give it time. If it beds in and all that sort of stuff, like, then great, and I'm sure I'll come across it at some point, and I may even see some of it here.
Yep.
I kind of, obviously they're a big name as such, but they're a big name because of the press, like you said, jumping on who they are or who two members are.
Yep.
I feel like they're in the wrong position at this festival. That's my honest opinion. Like, that doesn't, it's not a diss to them, because I hope they come out and prove me wrong and everybody else wrong and do fantastically. But I don't understand how a band so in their infancy, that if you take away the two famous father members of the band, are, to me, at around the level of where the New Blood bands are, is opening the main stage on Sunday. And I wonder, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't fucking care that much, but like, I'm like, you know, like, if I had like a fucking super famous dad or whatever, I'd be like trying to jump on some of that too. And it also might not be my fault if bands book me, if festivals book me here because I've got a famous dad, then I ain't gonna say no to it. Why the fuck would you? And I know that's a very negative way to look at things, but that's what to my honest opinion, when I saw that appeared there, and I was like, I don't understand how they can, you know, how on earth have I got, like, I don't know. I know it's the way things like line up and all that sort of stuff, but you got, like you said, like bands like, I don't know, I Hate God, Orbit Culture and stuff like that are like halfway down the Sophie Lancaster stage and Vended opening the main stage. And it's, you know, it's trying to work out positions like, I don't care for them at the moment. Not their fault. I don't care for it turns me off hype in the media.
Yeah,
I hate that. It's like, just drop it.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm sure I will listen to these guys, and I'll either be a fan musically or not, and that will be my judgment on it. But every time I hear, like we have in the past, like some fucking press, you know, these guys smashed it, this happened, and they don't just do it with like Vended. There was like a big constant push. I can't remember the name of the band, but fucking Rob Trujillo's son, like, would was in a band, and it used to always be like, oh, this band featuring Rob Trujillo's son. Right. Even do it with like Dave Grohl and Dave Grohl's kids and stuff like that. It's like, you know, they're obsessed, man. Honestly, they're obsessed. It just turns me off of like wanting to listen to this stuff.
It does. That kind of slew of intense press sort of focus can be very off-putting, because if you're not one of those who buy into hype, and hype kind of makes you go, what, you know, you're building up in the wrong way. Don't do it that way and stuff like that, or don't do it. It doesn't work for me in that same. I get what you're kind of saying. Vended kind of come on with a fair bit of hype, and it's generally something I do hope they can, like live up to it. I really, really do. But like position-wise for me, I'm kind of okay with it purely because the opening slot on a Sunday morning in a main stage is not an easy slot. It's not even
no, it's not easy.
Great slot.
And like I said, you know, it's not a personal attack on them. Like, I hope they do really, really well. I don't know. I couldn't quite understand, like, you know, like how they're there. And then even when, like, you know, when you read like the blurb on them and stuff like that, you know, like you said, it's from Iowa, the home of Slipknot, features two members from two legendary guys, and then after that, oh, and also these guys are in it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, all right, dick move.
Yeah. Life of Agony. Something a little bit of miserable beauty for your Sunday morning. Obviously, we're supposed to play last year. They were one of my most anticipated bands last year, and that remains so. I love Life of Agony. Really, really excited to see them. It's been a very, very long time since I've seen them, so it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, should be interesting. I don't love them anywhere near as much as you do, but hey, I've also never seen Life of Agony, so yeah, I'll probably try and catch it.
Butcher Babies, one of the hangovers that have been holding on to getting to play this festival, and it's finally going to happen come August. Fingers crossed. It is Butcher Babies, a band I didn't care for when they were first announced way back when, and unfortunately, I still don't care for. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't particularly care for them either. I can't remember when I watched like I don't know when it was. It was like part of a live stream or something like that. But I think it wasn't just to watch them. It was like a whole load of things in it. And it was all right, like musically and that, it was all right. But, you know, it felt like a lot of what was being pushed was the sex appeal side of things. You know, that's what it felt like when I was watching it. You know, it was like constant outfit changes, losing items of clothing and kind of pushing that sex appeal element, which is also not a problem. I got no issue with that as such, but it distracts from the music, and the music was only average.
It's the lack of interest in music that kind of doesn't sell it for me.
Yeah.
There's kind of a running theme now on the main stage for me of where I'm just like, yeah, I don't really care that much. Because also oozing sex appeal, joking, it is violence. A band I know I should want to check out. I know I should like. I get all of that. Truth be told, I just think they're okay at best. And the connection that you're inevitably going to come to does not interest me at all.
I don't know. It depends. Like, I guess the connection for me, like when I was talking about things like Sacred Reich and all that, was more about the fact that it was where Rob started.
Yep.
As well as the fact that obviously Phil Demmel came from there, that was part of it. But because Phil wasn't the original guitarist in Machine Head, it wasn't as much a part of it as in like I kind of liked the idea of violence when I was younger because that's where Rob Flynn originated from, and I like Machine Head a lot. When Phil came, that was just like, oh my god, violence must be like the greatest place in the world where they just keep churning out these awesome Machine Head members. And then he left. I was like, right, fuck you, violence. But yeah, I mean, I'd prefer them to Sacred Reich, but I'm also not a massive fan musically. So yeah, I might try and catch a bit of it, but I'm not bothered if I don't.
Yeah, is that for me? It's not enough about I've never seen to care that much. Venom Inc. Venom Inc. are a recent addition to the festival, replacing the Black Dahlia murder. Venom Inc. I've seen before at Bloodstock, and I quite enjoyed them at the time. I really, really do. They're not a band I'd say I really care that much about, but of the two Venoms that exist right now, I think Venom Inc.'s the superior one. So, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I get confused with these two. Like which way around it is.
This is not the one with the lead singer, the original lead. He's the
But yeah, not particularly bothered either way, is the truth. So
fair enough.
I'll be getting food around then, ready for the next one.
Yeah, as I say, it's all about preparation for this band. Again, another band that has been hanging on to play this festival. It is, of course, Cattle Decapitation. Take it away, Brendan.
These are going to be great. I'm really excited. Really excited. They obviously were meant to play last year as well. They were also meant to tour the UK last year, before Bloodstock. Actually, I think it was, because I remember it was always Bloodstock were going to be the first time I saw them, and then all of a sudden they were playing a month or two before Bloodstock. I was like, I'm going to see them twice.
Yep, the Garage in London. What a venue that would have been as well.
Yeah, although they have re-announced now for the UK later in the year, or later in the summer, early in the autumn. But yeah, look, I think these guys are fantastic. I've always liked them. Death Atlas turned me from like to love, and then as what happens sometimes, now that I love Death Atlas and I listen back to the stuff I've always liked, and I realize that I love that too. You know, I think they're a fantastic band, heavy as fuck, but with enough happening in their music, especially those kind of cleaner, groovier elements, to make it not just a singular wall of noise. You know, they mix it up. I think it'll be heavy. I don't think they're, going to come and do an acoustic song or anything like that. I think the pit will be, I'm assuming there's going to be some Cattle Decapitation fans there, I hope. And I think they're a big enough band that they're going to pack out the front of that stage, and I think the pit will be pretty brutal. But also, like, working on new music at the moment, all the vocals and everything are done, and everything I'm seeing coming out of their camp is like, you know what, they're just a fucking great band. They're everything that like bands should try to be in metal. They are seriously heavy, yet they also have fun. I love that about them. Like, they did fucking videos to songs from Death Atlas about like hoarding toilet roll and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? They can do it and have a smile and a laugh and everything like that as well. So it's gonna be brilliant. Honestly, it could be the band of the weekend or one of the 2 or 3 bands of the weekend. They are the band I think I'm most yeah, no, they are the band I'm most excited to see. Weirdly, and that is even with Avatar and everyone there. So
that makes sense though, because the likes of what's call it Dark Tranquility and stuff, like you saw Dark Tranquility recently. So whereas Catholic Capitation,
been a long time coming, man.
Yeah. Okay, last 3 bands, shall I say? Because up next it's black metal, and it's old school black metal with the Cranky Boys. That is Dark Funeral, when they're not being like cranky online. They play some music, and hopefully they will play some good black metal at Bloodstock. I do like them. I do like Dark Funeral. I remember seeing them at the Underworld going back 5 or 6 years ago, and they were spectacular then. So yeah, I'm happy enough. I'm happy enough with these guys to see them.
Yeah, I like them too. I also agree that they're cranky. I also like them.
Killing Joke. Now, of all the kind of old school bands that like are playing here, like Merciful Fate and the likes of that, Killing Joke are probably up there as the one I'm most interested in, the most interesting, eclectic, and exciting band of that bunch for me. I wouldn't say I'm like super excited for it, but of them all, I'm like, yeah, Killing Joke, I'm definitely going to want to tick off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those bands like I guess they've been around fucking forever, man. Like people, what was it, 1978? God, that's older than me.
Yeah.
The band formed 3 years before I was born.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I've never seen Killing Joke. Don't think I've ever been anywhere where I would have seen Killing Joke, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, great. I'll definitely try and catch some of that.
Which then brings us to the last band of the weekend. Well, not the last band, obviously, because that would be the Night Flight Orchestra. But the last main stage band is the Headliners, taking up a headline slot for, I think, the second time. It's been 2013, I think, off the top of my head, was when they last headlined, the same weekend as Machine Head headlined and all that. It is, of course, Lamb of God. And look, I'm going to be honest, people. I mean, this is no secret if you watched these videos before. I just don't really get this band's popularity. I think they're cool. I think they've got some good songs. I don't mind a bit of groove metal, man. But all I keep thinking is, am I really going to want to watch an hour and a half of Lamb of God? And I'm like, I already know I'm not. And it's not even about being a Sunday night and all that. I just don't rate them as highly as others do. It's just that. They just don't click with me, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. It happens sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I guess I kind of sit in the middle, so I don't rate them as highly as others do. I totally get what you're saying there, but I think I would probably rate them a bit higher than you do. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think I will watch it. I don't know if I'll watch the whole thing, but I'll definitely be watching it. And if I'm enjoying it, I'll stay. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them. So.
And there it is. That's the current lineup as of July the 1st, 2022. Yes, I lied. At the very start, I said we'll give you a quick run through, but we just can't do that. We end up talking.
We try.
Yeah, we don't even know why we bother even trying to say these things will be short, because we just end up talking. We're not done yet as well. We did say we're going to throw out some fun suggestions and ideas of things that we never want to see change, and 5 things we would like to potentially see change as the festival goes on over the years. So we'll just go back and forth there. We might have a bit of doubling up on certain things because we share similar opinions about certain things. So let's do the 5 things that I never want to see change. We never want to see change. And I will simply start with this one. The size of the festival. Now, there is some leeway here. I don't mean it never grows. It never expands. It stays the exact amount it is. That's just silly and not fair. What I don't want, of course, is to see it grow. And I realize it's a possibility because of the ground. So I'm kind of safe in that fact. But I never want to see it go, cool, 50,000, double the size, that kind of thing. No, that is so off-putting. That's part of, one of the things I looked at, like when I looked at download streams, Hellfest, fucking Glastonbury more than anything else. And I'm like, oh, it's so cool to see the sun and people having fun. And every band, it looked like it was a sea of people. And I'm like, how do you see anything? How do you move? How do you exist? How do you manage that?
That's where people say shit like, oh, but it's not about seeing the bands. It's about the experience. That's where we're like, yeah, fuck off.
Fuck off, yeah, basically. So it's simply a bit of leeway, like in a sense, I'm not being so stupid as I wouldn't want to see Bloodstock grow, and I think they could certainly expand a couple of thousand and that kind of thing. But I'd never want to see it become this giant behemoth, which sounds really selfish because ultimately you kind of want the festival to be successful, and if it grows and grows and grows, who am I? Some stupid shithead go, no, don't grow. I want you to be the same, and so on, that kind of thing. But it's personal.
Yeah, it is, and I do have the same thing. I'm going to be more selfish. I don't fuck their growth in the nicest possible way. No, I mean, it is like, for me, it's the perfect size because it's like busy enough to feel like a festival. It's not so busy it's uncomfortable. That's the whole thing for me. I do understand, like you, I do get that bands need to, anything needs to grow, to continue to be successful, because the only other way to continue to exist is to continue to put prices up, because everything's going to always go up, and you either have more people buying tickets or you have more expensive tickets. That's just the way that things are. My only thing with Sty is like, I think often what can go wrong when people try to grow things is that they grow the size as in more people come, but unless you grow everything equally, it becomes a horrific experience. So if you have 10,000 more people come, you need enough facilities for 10,000 more people. You need enough beer and enough food places and enough toilets and showers and fucking space. And actually, from a Bloodstock perspective, and this, even though this is the positive things I don't want to change about Bloodstock, the reality of it is that when they sold out, or pretty much sold out last year, it was also at times fucking uncomfortable because they don't always sell out, and then they did. So it was, hey, here's like 4,000 or 5,000 more people, but nothing else is changing. There ain't no extra seats or toilets or anything. Good luck, guys. And that's my reason. I think at the moment it's the perfect size for what it is. Don't want to grow, do that, go for it, but grow everything.
Everything that's completely fair.
Time. Otherwise, no growth.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you were referencing last year. If you were there last year, particularly as you hit the Sunday, you could see the issues that were arising from the fact that everyone seemed unprepared for a sudden influx of extra people, food stalls, bars, things like that, toilet facilities. It was certainly the busiest and most uncomfortable I felt the festival had ever been. Continuing with the never want to see change then, and this is an obvious one because I generally don't think this will. I think this is an area that will grow. This is an area that will grow, but in a really positive way. And I never want the Metal to the Masses and New Blood setup to change. That system of Metal to the Masses around the country, extending to other parts of the world, and obviously those bands winning their heats and finals and getting their slots to play the New Blood and play Bloodstock, including some bands who impress, also given opportunities to then play the Jägermeister stage. It is generally one of the best things in festivals, music, in what's being done to generally push and champion and give opportunities to unsigned bands.
Unsurprisingly, I have the same thing. New Blood stage, Metal to the Masters is probably the best thing in the world. Stage is my favorite thing about Bloodstock. Isn't I mean it's always got my favorite bands on it. It's just my favorite thing. I think what it is phenomenal. Metal to the Masses, the whole roadshow is brilliant too. And I know a lot of people don't buy into it because it's like a band comp and all that sort of stuff. But pretty much every band that I know that's in some way taken part in it has always spoken positively about it. So, hey, it's for the bands, and if it's working for the bands, then it's obviously good. Brilliant fucking way, I think, of giving them chances, and a great source of new music for me, and I'm sure many other people. And to be honest with you, Bloodstock without it just wouldn't be the same.
Agreed. It's so inherently them that no other festival has even tried to replicate it, even attempted to even bother trying to replicate it because of the scale and size of it. And it, like I said, it's one that you can see growing, extending, and becoming bigger as it spreads throughout Europe. Great stuff. All right, we've been doubling up, so let's see if this one might be a bit different. We might not have this one because this is a bit of an odd one for me. But I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, what other things? Because I didn't want to just pull out changes and things about the festivals per se, e.g., the Sophie Lancaster tent. I thought, what's something I really like about Bloodstock that you find as you walk around? And this isn't just in the VIP area, this is in the actual festival grounds, the main stage, all that. And I realized that what Bloodstock's got really cool, and like any other place I've ever been to, is the sense that the artist and fan separation is not as severe as other festivals. So you go to other festivals, you go to them, and like, you ain't getting anywhere near an artist. You aren't going to run into them on the field. They're completely over there. You stay away. They're over there. They do their set. They go to the back and they're never seen again. That's the end of it. At Bloodstock, and obviously this applies mainly to small bands. All right, you're not going to see Rob Halford wandering around the fucking main stage after a set. Of course not. But you will see a lot of smaller bands. You will run into them watching bands themselves. They'll be there for the weekend, checking out the band themselves, new blood bands, things like that. That sense of artist and fan separation. Although this is VIP specific, of course, last year Danny Fulk proceeded to just walk around the VIP area and hang out and stuff like that. And I realize that's specific to that, so that's not necessarily fair, but it's that sense of idea that you could generally be walking around, bump into, shoulder barge someone famous, someone you love in a band. Yeah. And that's that. There's no other festival that feels like that to me.
Yeah, I think it's great. I know again it's VIP specific, but even the fact that the bands that are being interviewed are separated from the people that are not interviewers by a 2 foot high picket fence, so they can stand there, have chats, shake hands, take pictures of them and stuff afterwards. Like, even that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not like a big fucking 6 foot fence with barbed wire on the top, like electric fence or anything like that. It's like, genuinely, if you want to get close to a band, you are already. But I haven't got that one. I did I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with this at first because like one of the weird things about it, you think like things I would never change. And I guess it's a natural human thing to be like, I can give you 42 things I would change, but things I would never change. There's nothing I would never change because everything's like open for change, isn't it? That's the thing.
Of course, yeah.
But I didn't have your one there. So the next one that I did, I guess it's kind of what you did previously, but I separated it into two. So as well as doing the New Blood stage and the Metal to the Masses, I also really do enjoy the fact that not just through the New Blood, but also through other stages, that I feel like Bloodstock gives bands a leg up and chances. Whether it's bands doing their first headline slot.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't headlined anywhere before. Bloodstock will give you that step one, have a crack at headlining here in the UK. I love that. Moves from the New Blood to the Sophie, moves from the Sophie then a year, 2-3 years later to opening the main stage. And maybe then even a few years later coming back and being like halfway at the main stage.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it feels like not only do they give you a chance and then, of course they sell tickets off the back of it and all that, but they seem to invest in that band or in some of these bands and say, right, actually, you know what, we're still tracking you because they are genuinely fans of metal. We're still tracking you. We want you to come back and you're going to be playing higher and higher. And I think that whole kind of giving bands that first chance at something, first time on the main stage, first time as a headliner, whatever it may be, again, like the New Blood and the Metal to the Masses, is just a wonderful, USP for the festival. And I would imagine it's a wonderful thing outside fans as well. I would like to think that bands see Bloodstock that way too. It's like Bloodstock will give us a leg up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a cool thing. They're investing in the future of metal.
Absolutely. No, we'll put, as you say, it combines into that, but it is a completely separate thing in itself. Because it's not just about New Blood, it's about getting those extra steps. We're seeing it this year with certain bands as well that previously played the New Blood and now playing the Sophie stage as well.
Yep.
My next one then is quite specific, and it's specific to VIP only. And I had a little think, and I was like, what in the VIP section would you never change? Because as you said yourself, when you have this kind of question, you ask yourself, you tend to start thinking about, like I said, I know I'd change that, I'd do this, I'd do that, or whatever, and I'd like to see that and stuff like that. So when it comes to, you're like, okay, all right. But I had a little thing, and I was like, right. And I thought this one was the most thing that I think is pretty much perfect for the most part. And it's the Serpent's Lair VIP bar and the wide array of drinks you get on offer, the mostly good service you get, the fact that you rarely have to queue, the fact that it's easy to go and get a drink there, and you can always try something brand new and that. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't really see what I would ever suggest to change that.
No, same. Yeah, I didn't put it down, but I agree. I absolutely agree. I guess if you could change anything about it, it was like some sort of advance notice that the beer you bought is shit.
The two off tasters, we just can't be bothered to ever do that. Remember, they always offer us that, and it's like, no, just give me it. I'll find out myself afterwards.
I'm still gonna drink it though.
Yep.
Another pretty shit one from me next, and that's the location, which I think is an odd one, but for me it's not, because I think firstly the site I think is great. I think it's well laid out and everything like that. But and the OP pitching area is perfect, the car park's perfect and all that. It's not so much about that though. It's more about how far away it is from home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is for me. So like I guess a little bit of me feels like, I think it might even be factually correct that if Bloodstock did decide that, you know, we're going to push to become a, I don't know, a 30 or 40 or 50,000 festival, that they probably would have to move sites.
Yep.
That's my understanding anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas in one way, like I think I always find like where it is to be almost perfect for me, right? Because it's that right distance from my home to feel like I'm away, but it's not so far from my home that it's unreachable, or I can't drive there, or I have to get like 8 hours on a coach or a flight or something. Like, do you know what I mean? It's that kind of nice, 3 hours in the car.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But like, I don't want to be like half hour away. I don't want to be on my doorstep traveling into the festival each day, because there'd be literally no point in camping if it was half hour away.
Yeah, you just go home. Yeah.
I mean, it's just that right. But like, if you were to suddenly say, well, actually, if it was like another 100 miles up the road, so you took like a 4.5, 5 hour journey or something like that, you know, then it's like, oh, fucking hell, that's a long old drive, isn't it? We'll have to do that, and we'll have to leave at 4 a.m, do it in stages. It's just this nice, perfect thing. I ain't even got to get up that early to go to Bloodstock, man. I really don't. I have to get up, like, I get up about, I don't know, 6. I'm usually up about that any time anyway. Jump in the car around 7, stop for a breakfast. It's like, what, 2 motorways? It's literally like, if I could choose a festival site, I wouldn't want to be that close to home. I wouldn't want to be far away. It's like in the circle, I think the radius, where I'd be like somewhere in this radius, and they'd be like, here we are, perfect.
Oh man, it was a crap one, but the way you described it, and the way you told that story, you made it sound way better than it was.
That's exactly what my plan was. I was like, right, I've got a couple of crap ones here. I'm going to sell this shit.
My last one then is, it's the late night Sophie headliners. And it's that extra band that goes on after the main band on the main stage. And this is simply, it's so clever, it's so smart, because what it does is it stops a mass exodus and people slowly shuffling out and trying to just, you know, it's just taken forever because of that, because you have a massive crowd that goes towards itself. It gives people just something to do. It gives a band an opportunity, a really strong opportunity to pull in a big crowd, because they're the only ones playing at that stage and effectively the last band of the night. It just sort of breaks things up. It's a great opportunity. You don't have to go do it. You don't have to go watch if you don't want to. You can just chill out. You can sit back and stuff like that. But it's also, like I said, it's a big deal of a slot as well. It's why you get fairly large bands playing it. That aspect and having them go on after the main stage headliner is something I would never want to see change.
Yeah. Well, unsurprisingly, if I've already at my second last one, I have to come in with a shit one. Yeah. But I do actually mean this one, right? But this is something that only popped into my mind recently, and this actually came from watching other festivals.
Okay.
And I realized that I don't have to suffer from this at Bloodstock, and I think I would fucking hate it if I did. And but I don't even know if this is a rule or just something that happens. And that is the fact that there are no flag waving bell ends in front of like the stages. And I watched some of the Glastonbury stuff. And I like, firstly, okay, obviously, yeah, if I'm 4,000 people deep, that's a problem anyway.
Yeah.
But even if I'm like 100 people deep, when the camera did angles from almost head height, like where you'd be standing like middle of the front of the stage or something like that, I couldn't see fuck all of the stage, because all I could see were hundreds of flags being waved.
Yeah.
I watched the Zealand Arda thing, and while it was certainly nowhere near as prominent, there was one person on the left who had a flag. And every time he waved it, it covered the guitarist that was on that side. And then I can't remember. I was watching other ones. Anyway, I've seen snippets of other ones and clips of other ones. And in all of them, somebody gets to the front. Oh, look at me with my Spanish flag or my Portuguese flag, or I've written something clever on it. I think someone at Glastonbury had done the whole "this is a work event" thing still, you know, and like from my moment on the camera. But I've never suffered that at Bloodstock. But I don't know if that's just because people don't do it or they're not allowed to.
I could be wrong on this, but I'm sure Download at Bloodstock banned them many years ago. It may just be one of those rumored things and people kind of just bought into it and just decided not to do it more than anything else. I'm sure.
And if you're now thinking like, oh, can I bring flags? Because you just said that. No, you can't. No, it's a rule. It's a rule.
Don't. We are,
it would really ruin it. Can you imagine you're standing there trying to get your little view, and there's just in front of the stage, there's like 20, 30 people, all with huge flags, all in front of the stage. I don't get me wrong, it wouldn't be just me. I think like 90% of the crowd would be fucking fuming, and it'd most likely end up in people raining beers and pints down on top of them until they put them down, which would be kind of funny. But yeah, like yeah, things I would never change about Bloodstock is basically I would hate it to become a sort of festival where actually, you know, flags were being waved so much so that it was restricting my view. So
You
another
say
shit
that,
one, but I'm selling it well.
no, you saying that just inspired me, and I've just changed something on the other list because it flew into my head. Then I was like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that, but we'll get to that. I'm all out? Did you have another one?
No, that was it.
That was it. Yes, I mean, like it's things that we never want to see change. I mean, ultimately, we kind of just don't want the festival to change that much when it comes down to it. Really, really, really enjoy the entire experience and how it's been. But there are stuff, as I said, there are plenty of things that we think, yeah, you know, that'd be cool if that changed and that changed and this changed and that changed. And that's not a criticism of the way the festival's run. Good God, it's not that at all. Of course not. It really isn't. It can be more perfect. But these are just some ones that I've pulled out. We love the festival, Brendan. I'm trying to be super positive here. I don't want to, because you know when you start doing these sort of negative, sounding like it's negative, but I don't think these are negative. My points aren't like necessarily negative. It's not like a criticism of how the festival's run or anything like that. It's more like, oh, I just think this would be cool more than anything else.
Okay. Let me just make sure that I think I'm all right.
Well, I mean, there might be one actually. There might be one specific, but a lot of people call for this, and I'm in agreement with them. But I'm going to start with a big one for me. It was something I noticed last year more than anything else. And basically, I want to see a change, and I'm calling a refresh of the shops and the food. Both, basically. Now, if you see a picture of Bloodstock, and you have that square of all those shops, and you have some at the back over there, and you have some over there, and that kind of thing. These are the same stores that have been there with the same fucking stock, I swear to Christ, for the last 5 or 6 years. To the point where normally we used to go in and occasionally buy something, didn't pick up a single thing last year. And it was kind of like the realization, walk around my wife going, this is just, there's nothing here. It's not interesting anymore. I'm not saying get rid of them all, because ultimately if they come to you and buy the pictures and all that, that's by the by. I'm just saying I want to refresh. I want something new to come in. And the same applies to the food air stores. There are a lot of the ones that are regulars and they're cool. But basically this food one is specific for, again, something that happened last year. And I do not want to see repeated this fucking
I know where
year.
he's going.
I swear to fucking Christ, and this is no secret, I swear to Christ, I can live with one easy cheesy stall. One. Because fuck it, some people are going to eat that shit when they're pissed. 3, there were 3 last year, and I realized, hey, you had trouble getting food vendors and all that. I swear to Christ, I am genuinely frightened that I'm going to rock up to this festival and I'm going to see like 5 easy cheesies now. And it's going to be like a fucking goddamn infection that spreads like symbiotic, and then it takes over the body of another stall. And next thing you know, we're all just eating easy cheesy. We're all just eating it. So yeah, just that, a refresh of the shops. And no easy cheesies, or less easy cheesies, please.
I've got a feeling I might be wrong. You might be okay, right? Because the way I'm thinking is like, it was like bands, right? So if Easy Cheesy, obviously it must be a relatively successful food fucking van company. Otherwise, they ain't got 3 vans. Most of these places are like one dude with a van. So normally, what happens at a normal year? Is it that there are so many other festivals that they're all off at different locations, and then last year there was one festival? We'll bring all 3 vans because we've got to sell something. That's what I'm hoping. But I agree with you. 3 of the same things are fucking nonsense, especially when 90% of what's sold on site is something with chips anyway.
Yeah.
You know. So hey, do you want this with chips? And what do? Oh, we do chips too, but this time we'll put cheese on it.
There's a story. Yeah, I'm sure you told this story before, but I'm going to repeat it for everyone else because it still makes me laugh. Brendan's excitement over last year when I think he went and got lazy and went to Easy Cheesy, and then they offered you and said, oh, we haven't got any more. Do you want some actual cheddar?
Yeah, they apologized. They were like, oh, we're really sorry, man, but we're out of like the melted lava stuff. We've got bags of like grated cheddar. That's the best we can do. And I was like, yeah, that's okay. And it was lovely because actually their fries are okay. You know, it's just the cheese that's the problem.
It's the cheese.
And actually, you know, when they gave me a nice bowl of fries and then sprinkling a massive handful of grated cheddar over it, like proper cheese, I opened up the bag fresh and everything. I was like, there's your, I'll pay a quid extra for this shit. I'll pay you extra money to not melt my fucking cheese. They're melting naturally on the chips, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I get what you're saying, man. I mean, a lot of the time, there's a lot of places there I've not even eaten at, like, do you know what I mean? Because like, I guess because of the hunting bands sort of thing. You know, we're rushing from stage to stage. Often I'm like, oh, I just got to grab something. I'm gonna grab a pizza.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
of
So
course, yeah.
but so I'm not so bad with the food thing, but I agree with you on the fucking shop things, man.
Mm.
Literally, stalls that just sell like, hey, I've got 92 versions of wolves on a black t-shirt. Like, you interested? No, no, I'm not. I'm not fucking interested. Fuck you and your wolves. But all right, so I get my shittest one out of the way first, I think, because I mean, because I don't really care. That's the thing. Like, it's true that if it changed, I'd be like, hey, cool. But it's also so subjective that it doesn't really matter, and that is the lineups. I love the bands that Bloodstock book, I really do. But sometimes I would love to see them take a bit more risk in some of the other more obscure subgenres outside of. Right, here's the festival. There's 150 bands playing. 120 of them are either death, thrash, or doom, and then we've got 4 or 5 black metal, and then a couple of other ones, and that's your festival. And I get that's what they do, and I also love the band. That's why I said this is a shit one. But that would be like this year's not a great example either. But a bit more power, a bit more folk, symphonic, black, anything like that. Just mix it up a little bit, because I think through the website probably, and this is why I understand why they also can't necessarily do it. We end up obviously listening to some pretty obscure stuff. And I listen to it and I'm like, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see it live. I'd love to see it live. I'd love to see it live. And then, Bloodstock announcement, and I'm looking at the shit that's been announced, and you're like, oh, imagine if this got announced, imagine that. Yeah. And I'm not talking all small things, man. I'm talking like, anything from Zeal and Ardor, I think they're perfect for Bloodstock, man. I'd have them headline the Sophie stage.
Yeah, you know I mean? Seems like a shoo-in, really.
But like, it's like, oh, come on, and it's like, oh, no, we've got another 80s thrash band, another 80s thrash band, another 80s thrash band. If you look at that main stage lineup this year, like, and I'm not saying that I'm really that bothered about it, because I'm also like cool that they're there. You're talking Testament, Lamb of God, Violence, Sacred Reich. Like, it is literally like how many more of these names can you rattle off? Like, there is a lot of cool stuff down here. Really, like, often stay away from the power thing. I mean, I don't think there's any power metal there at all this year.
Oh shit!
Like, not one.
Oh god!
Last year we had nothing. I think we had like Fellowship, was it, in the New Blood stage, and that was it. I think the year before that we had Orden Ogun.
God, you're right. Actually, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. No.
So I'm not saying I love the lineup. That's why I'm saying this is a bit of a shit one, because like, if they don't announce any of this like stuff I'm asking for, and they just announce the same stuff from here, I'm still really happy, because they're all great bands. But I would love to see like a little dabbling, in some of these other areas.
Yeah, no, of course. Lineup's always going to be like that, and it's like, as long as it's within the ballpark, that's all you can kind of hope for. Okay, basic one. Should I do this one? Yeah. Okay. I wonder, and maybe it's a logistic things. Maybe there's a reason why this is the case. I know it's because they've all in previous years up to last year, they like to try and do something different in the tent after the band's finished. But is there any particular reason that you know of or can imagine why the New Blood bands finish at 8 o'clock and don't continue to play until 10 or 11?
I don't think it's 8 o'clock. I thought it was 6 o'clock.
Maybe is it that early? I think it's 8.
Maybe it's 8 then. I thought it was 6 o'clock. But I didn't have this on my list, but I did think of that as well. But in my head, it was 6 o'clock. But you've been there a lot more than me, so you're probably right with 8. I have no idea, to be honest with you, other than I don't really know. I've got nothing.
Does anybody know? Let us know in the comments, because what I'm kind of saying is I'd like to see like New Blood go on a bit later. You could potentially fit a few more bands on. This might be something that occurs tied into the things that, about never wanting this to change, but acknowledging that Metal to the Masters would inevitably grow. If more locations get added, more bands need to be added. And maybe they're kind of Bloodstock was purposely left it so they'd always have a window to grow, because if you were doing it already from 11 to 11,
maybe it's like meant to represent like real gig life, right? Because I guess the level of the person headlining the New Blood stage would be the 6 o'clock band at a normal gig.
Interesting.
I don't know, or the 8 o'clock band, the warm-up band, the one that you're all still queuing to try and get in and catch a little bit of, but never quite fucking make it. So they're like, maybe they're trying to make it not too scary for those bands by putting them on past 8 o'clock when like none of them have ever been on past 8 o'clock. Oh, we're going to play you at 11. Oh no, we can't do that. I have to be home.
But yeah, it's a basic one. I'd be interested, and we'd quite like to see New Blood expand and just bands go on a bit later, really, more than anything else. So maybe it's something as obvious as well, why would we put a New Blood band on at the same time as the main stage headliner? They're fucked. But it's like, no, I don't think they would be. I think that's no different to a band on the main stage at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they're still going up against bands like fucking this year, like Cattle Decapitation and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're going to be up against likes of Avatar and stuff like that. So,
okay. I'm going to use a little bit of that one in one of mine in a minute, but I'm going to leave my other ones for the end because they're kind of like two in a row. So the next one I've got is I genuinely do think like they should do something about the Wi-Fi. Or some. No, I don't think they should do something about phone signal because that's too specific.
Yep.
Actually, phone masts and things like that are, but there is no real reason why they couldn't provide Wi-Fi for guests. Now, what I propose is because it does cost money, and it will cost them money to put it on. However, if you were to say to guests,
I know where you're going with this.
20 quid, 30 quid, Wi-Fi for the weekend.
Yep.
Buy it at the same time as your ticket and your car parking and your whatnot. And then you get the password and you can access it. I know that normally people go, oh yeah, but then one person will give the password to 100 people. But you can do things with Wi-Fi, like have it tracked to a single IP address that being shot from your phone and things like that. So that actually you can't do multi-login. I do this as a fucking job part of it anyway. So I know all this stuff is very, very simple and just it's not technical. It's part of the configuration of turning the fucking Wi-Fi on. So I never really understood why I didn't do it. And I understand like a lot of people kind of go down the route of but like it's a holiday from my phone and all that. The problem I have, right, is twofold. One doesn't really matter because we get by, and the other one is a genuine thing. I'm on O2. I get no signal at Bloodstock. I don't know why, but I get nothing. Like there are patches where it might pop in and it says like, oh, you got 1 bar. And then you go like, oh, let me try and do something. And it still doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, it's like secret, not really 1 bar, but it's 1 bar on your phone.
So my serious one is like, I got a 10-year-old daughter at home, man. I want to call her sometimes. I want to check in. I want to make sure she's okay. But also she wants me to call her sometimes and be like, oh, Dad, show me some of what you're watching right now.
Yeah.
She's certainly going to want me to call her and show her some of Avatar.
Yeah.
One of her favorite bands. And I can't even get in contact with my daughter when I'm away without extreme difficulty, like walking around the fucking campsite in the morning, like while everyone else is asleep, just trying to find one patch where maybe I can, I don't know, stand near a metal fence and boost the signal enough to be able to send a single text message.
Yeah.
And I find that really frustrating. So I get that some people see it as an escape from the phone, but some people are dependent on their phone as a method of contact to their family that are not with them. So for me, that's like actually quite a serious thing. And I know that Bloodstock do Wi-Fi because I know they give the artist Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Because it comes up if you check your fucking Wi-Fi in your phone, and there is locked channels for artists' Wi-Fi. And also, I think for probably the people that are working there and stuff like that, because hey, how could you coordinate a bloody festival if you can't even speak to each other? But I know they got walkie-talkies, so like they obviously depend on them quite heavily. I mean, a lot more jokingly, I mean, how many times have we sat there? Do you remember, like we're doing interviews? Yeah, we're interviewing a New Blood band. And we're like, right, we don't know these guys. We're going to do an interview with them in 10 minutes. Let's have a chat with them, see how they got on and everything like that. We don't know what they look like. You're trying to talk to them on the phone. You struggle to get through to them. You might finally get through to somebody. We're like, look, let's just try and bring it up on the page and like have a look. Is that guy from the band? I don't know. Let me try and bring up a web page so I can look at what the band looked like. Oh, I can't do anything. You know what I mean? And like, if it's a small thing, I will live without it being there. But I genuinely think that actually, if they played this right, they could give people Wi-Fi, cover the full cost of it, and make a little bit of profit if they needed to off the back of it.
It is actually weird enough. It actually is a common complaint. One thing you've forgotten, I think you've forgotten this, is that actually, at least last year, and I think for the past few years, they've attempted to provide Wi-Fi to the partners, yet it hasn't worked. It's been worse in some cases being connected to that Wi-Fi than just sticking with your signal. Now, for the most part, I'm with 3. It can be hit and miss, but I get a little bit better than you do. So we've often relied on my phone more than anything else. But one of the things I've always wanted to do was be a bit more active. And this is because of the website, active on social media during bands, watching them. And just like popping up like quick reviews on Twitter or Facebook and just saying this.
Can't even open it.
Yeah, can't be bothered to do it when I'm having to stand there going, right, that kind of thing. Your suggestion was gold, but I'd go one further, and it ties into what Virgin Media do in regards to the system on the tube, which is the whole, if you're not a customer of these phones / or Virgin Media themselves, you can buy daily Wi-Fi passes. There's no password included. You don't need to, so there's no chance of people passing it over. You have to log in, you have to create an account, and that's, you $5 or $10 it is a day, and that could work. But yeah, it would be really but yeah, I see this come up a lot in comments and threads and in live streams as well at Bloodstock do. But yeah, the whole signal situation, Wi-Fi situation is pretty pants.
It is.
Okay, right. This is I'm going to tie this into another one I see come up a lot. A lot of people feel this way. Some people don't care. Some people still enjoy them. But I am in the camp of get rid of them. Get them out of here. They're annoying. They're pointless mostly. And if I have to walk past it here, Guns and fucking Roses, Sweet Child of Mine, playing from that goddamn fairground ride one more time. It's the fairground rides. I generally find them baffling to still exist. Bumper cars, there was only two last year. In fact, the bumper cars and the one that goes spinny up high. The Ferris wheel wasn't even there this time. So two fairground rides pumping out obnoxious music right next to the selfie stage, which annoys people as well, because if you want to sort of stand at the selfie stage entrance and just watch a bit of band, yet all you're getting is the fairground ride pumping music. I get it. Some people like it. I know bumper cars will be popular late at night for people and shit like that. But all I keep thinking is, man, get rid of them, move things around. That could be a really good space for more shops, more interesting shops and stuff like that. Or perhaps my idea, the biggest thing that I'm going to get to for the last one. But for me, I'm in the boat of get rid of the fairground rides.
I've got a feeling we're going to come to similar areas.
Yeah, of nowhere as well. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I'm not bothered by them, but what I would love for them to do, right, is if they're there, they're there, and people are enjoying them. I don't care. But I agree with you that that fucking musically, like, turn it in, man. Yeah. You've got 6 fucking tracks, and you play them on loop for 4 days. Yeah, it's fucking frustrating. And they're also actually, although you have to be pretty close to it, but like if you're standing to the right of the main stage, I think it's the right or left, whatever, which way around it is, you can also catch that in between breaks and the band's playing as well. So it's like, shut the fuck up. I don't like, just when they come in, give them a fucking CD. Just say to them, these are some of the bands playing over the weekend. Play this stuff.
That would be cool.
You know what? Make it really cool, man. Give them a CDs, and then every day what they play is a set list of the bands that are playing the New Blood stage the next day. Do a CD with a little announcement saying playing Saturday at 2:00. This band, one song plays. Playing Saturday at 4:00. This band.
I'd be fascinated to know the logistics. Like, how much are they paying Bloodstock for the patch, and how much money are they really making? That much money? I'd love to know.
Those in the Bloodstock in the Thursday video or whatever it was last week with Adam and Vicky, and I know at some point somebody asked, like in the comments, like, is the fairground back this year? And they were like, "Yeah, don't worry, the fairground's back." Rachel, I think they said Rachel is on that. Seriously, 2 rides is not a fairground. No, like, you can drop that shit, man. They're just obstacles. They're obstacles. But yeah, sorry. So anyway, moving on to my next one, right? And you very well, you will either have this one or will agree with me 100%. And I think this can tie into the shop thing. And this is to do with smaller bands and merch selling opportunities.
Oh, you should have saved this to the end.
I know. I'm sorry. I thought this was maybe where you were going to go.
No. Save this one to the end.
My other one.
I've got strong opinions on it, and I know we're in agreement on it. So save that one to the end.
All right, I'm going to save it to the end. But my next, I've got 2 more other than that. Yeah, they're both kind of linked. But I'll start off with the obvious one, which is the chairs in front of the stages. And this is, I genuinely think, right, this is not rocket science. Have chair zones in front of the stages, right? I think they are foolish if they believe that only those who need to sit bring chairs.
Yep.
It can and does cover 75% or more of the grass area in front of the main stage. And it isn't from late evening, late afternoon onwards that you can watch people at 10:00 heading in with their full fucking picnic gear, chairs, everything like that, all on their backs, finding their spot and then just staying there for the day.
Yep.
They grab the plot and that's it, they say. And then as the day passes, it grows and expands like a fucking infection before it is impossible to even walk through the festival site without falling over someone or something. And I think they should genuinely do something like mark out a zone, stage left, stage right, stage central. Yeah. But make people sit in the fucking zones. And I know it's a difficult thing to do. I'm not talking about like, put a bit of white paint on the floor, man, like a football fucking pitch markings. Yeah, mark out like 3 massive fucking rectangles far enough back from the main stage that people can sit there comfortably, but people who want to stand can also stand in front of them in front of the stage comfortably. And and just I know that they may not be able to ever do this, but for me, I would also just have stewards around to fuck people off if their chairs aren't in it.
Right.
That would be it. So have a couple of people bowl through every now and then. Chairs on in the fucking circle. Fuck off, cunt. Probably maybe in a more polite way than that, right? And then I was trying to imagine this, right? Like imagine, so Bloodstock are a festival. They put on essentially a massive gig.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take this idea of sit where you like on chairs and people have to make do with standing around you and put it in a live gig environment. So can you imagine being at somewhere like Brixton Academy where Brixton have decided the best place for the chairs is randomly all over the place, even right in the middle of where the mosh pit would be, and everyone else has to stand around it. They wouldn't do it. Do you know why? Because it's fucking insane.
Of course. Of course.
So, you know, come on, Bloodstock. You're not that fucking stupid.
Here's the thing is like, I generally think this is one of the most difficult things to fix, because what is always the most difficult things to fix is how do you police it? Now, here's my concern about what you suggested about the boxed out areas. What you're doing is creating a grandstand style area and basically declaring that area is off limits to everyone that doesn't have a chair, and creating this massive block of people that suddenly you now have to go around that alone. However, that's that. But this is the problem. It comes down to you hope, and I guess this is what Bloodstock are doing, and I get why. You're hoping that people either are paying attention to the general, we're not the alone in this, the general negativity that surrounds this increasingly problematic chair issue that's not exclusive to Bloodstock. I'm going to tell you something that Lou took a picture of at Download, but it feels worse at Bloodstock because of one side of the stage, the side that's nearest the New Blood, has become a set up your chair and pitch. But the problem is that people are becoming selfish or acting selfishly about it. What we're talking about is we're in a gang, 8 chairs long, sitting together, interlinked, and that is it. No one stands and dares stand in front of us because we can't see. Or being insane enough to almost have your chair in the fucking pit that it's that far down. Lou took a picture and sent it to me at Download, and I swear to Christ, this couple had their chairs practically in the pit at Bloodstock. It was at Download, sorry. It was like, wow, that is crazy. And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, why do you think that's okay? Because what you are also doing is creating a scenario where a lot of people will be so self-conscious of the fact that you've just decided I'm sitting here that they won't be able to move around and enjoy themselves the way they normally could, because you've decided this. And I bet you'll be the first one to be pissy if someone slammed into you as they were pitting and stuff like that, even though you've chosen to sit there. It's so difficult as well, because obviously there are more than enough people who need to sit down. It was a requirement, not to the extent where they need to use the disabled platform or anything like that, or can get the pass or things like that, but have bad legs, get aches and pains, that need to sit down. You then making it harder for them as well, because they're being tarred with the same brush. I completely get that you don't want to sit on the floor and all that, but it's the fact that you're rocking up and going 8 deep, 3 rows, and you just don't care. Or you're walking off as well and leaving at chair. It's no different a fucking goddamn towel and a sun lounger and deciding I'm going to get something and leave my chair.
Everything they do alongside it, man. The problem with it is that people don't. Right, so they camp, yeah, but they also, because they won't get out of their chairs, they eat their food there. They chuck their food on the floor by their chairs because you don't want to get off your chair and walk to a fucking bin.
Yep.
Like, and I get like some people need to sit down, but nobody needs to sit down all the time. If they do, then they're in a some form of like fucking chair, like a wheelchair or something like that. If they have to be sat down all the time, because otherwise, how do they even get in there with their fucking chair? And my problem is more to do with the people that rock up there at 10 o'clock in the morning, put their chairs down, picnic blankets in front of them, grow their piles of rubbish around them as the day kind of goes by, and that's it for the day. Now that doesn't work in Bloodstock's message either, because surely what is the point in allowing behavior that means that people actually just come in to take a picnic spot and not even going to watch bands? By literally allowing nothing but a sea of chairs. I'm not saying that Bloodstock completes. I don't even know how anyone could. The only thing I know it's a problem, and it's not a problem that's going to go away until someone does something about it. Because, like you said, it's growing. It's becoming more and more. I've seen comments on this. I've seen people that hate it, and I've seen everybody also react to that by going, "Well, I'll fucking sit where I want."
Yeah, of course.
And that is what it's going to do. So until somebody takes a stand and says, "Right, we got to do something about this," it is no longer safe. because there is also the
That
safety aspect of it. You cannot walk through that site at night anymore without standing on a person, tripping on a chair. So it's not an easy problem. It's certainly not an easy problem. But I feel like somebody's going to have to do something at some point, because the whole festival experience is destroyed by it. It's a small thing, like a person in a chair, but you multiply that out to 14,000 people in a chair. You've killed your festival.
It's really important here as well to point out, while we are kind of like obviously ranting about this, we're not alone. This is not a specific to us. This is a common thread and theme that comes up a lot. You just nailed certain aspects that really are the biggest problem of all. It's the fact that this carries on into the darkness of the night, and that's really, really difficult to maneuver. It can be quite difficult to go, say, from the toilet back to where you're perhaps positioned a bit closer to the main stage. It can be quite awful, particularly if you've had a few drinks. I'm going to run my job down here momentarily as I tie this into Bloodstock. So what I do for a living is famously reactive, not proactive. It's why we've had incredibly dangerous and unfortunate incidents that have occurred in my job, because the company itself is not very proactive. It's very reactive. It waits for things to go wrong, then deals with them. That is a simple fact of it. It's famous for it. I feel like that's what might be happening here regarding these chairs, where no one knows quite what to do. And it's almost like we're waiting for somebody to get hurt because they trip over a chair and break a bone on some, you know what I mean? Like something.
Yeah, or a mass fucking brawl, like go out because
a big old fucking fight kicking off because of it. You know? And you can say with the whole most part and all that, but like, it's been getting worse every year, and last year everyone acknowledged it was at its absolute peak of worst. And I just wish I've no clue how to fix this. I really don't, because without hiring a ton of staff to literally police, and then you have that problem where people are going to be like, I'll fucking sit where I want. And then you've got you've got bouncers walking around that drag you out. That's not good. It doesn't. I have no clue.
I'll do it. do it to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. But yet you can only do it if they're breaking a rule. So therefore, there has to be a rule first.
It has to be a rule. Yeah,
and that's the problem. You can't throw somebody else out of any area where they choose to sit in a chair, when nothing from Bloodstock says that they cannot sit in a chair wherever the fuck they like. I can literally, there is nothing stopping me, other than sense and shame, I guess, as a little bit as well, because I don't want to be that guy ruining other people's experience. Yeah. There's nothing to stop me going in there with a massive inflatable chair, going right down to the front at the morning, and like literally chaining myself to the barrier at the front in that massive inflatable chair, front and center of the main stage, and staying there all day until the main headliners come on. Nothing stopping me doing that. That in itself is. Well, the chain bit, yeah, I probably couldn't get in with the chain. I can't get in with a chain, but I can probably get in with a like massive inflatable unicorn sofa. That's okay.
I think you're absolutely right.
But aside from my own sense and my own shame, because I would never do it, both because I'd be embarrassed, but also because I know I would be being a dick to other people. There's nothing stopping me doing that and ruining every mosh pit for the whole day if I chose to be that selfish. And the fact that I can do that and Bloodstock can't stop me is in itself wrong, because that's where there should be some form of a rule.
Yeah, the biggest suggestion I've seen generally from people, and you kind of touched upon it, but theirs has been a bit more like no chairs beyond this line. That's never going to work, because what you, like I already said, what you end up creating is, imagine there's your soundstage. So picture Bloodstock is not people. You have your soundstage and say no chairs beyond the front of the soundstage. There's the line. What have you got? Fucking wall like that. How do you get in? You have to walk all the way around the side to then cut in, because there's this wall of chairs. You might as well create a fucking grandstand then and have seating there as well. Like that's why that doesn't work. Put it this way, I'm expecting no different than the usual this year.
Yeah. So. But yeah, it still sucks, so I would change it.
Yes, absolutely. What was the one that you said you had two that were tying in? Because have I got?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
I've got two more now.
Yeah. I've got the one more that we're going to do at the end. So do your
All right. So the next one was just and actually this may work quite nicely, because maybe this would affect the one we've just spoken about. Mm-hmm. And this is just to do with general seating at Bloodstock.
Yeah.
Because if you gave me a fucking seat every now and then, maybe I wouldn't need to bring a chair.
Mm.
If there was somewhere to sit down, I'm not saying for me personally, because yes, I can sit on the floor. Yes, I can do all that sort of stuff. It's not a problem. Okay, I'm a bit older now, so it'll just take me a few clicks extra to get back up again. And I might have to stand there and be like, for a little bit.
You go into your knees first before you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
up.
exactly. Yeah. But I will eventually get back up and hobble off.
Yep.
But I get that not everybody can do that. People have weak wrists, people have weak backs, people have weak legs, whatever. It's not always obvious. So I do understand that maybe part of the problem is the fact that there is no fucking seats, right? So I think there's like 6 or maybe 8 or something like that picnic benches outside of Lemmy's bar.
Yeah.
Generally all taken by campers from the moment the bar opens.
Yeah.
People camp there. And I understand why they do, because you move from there, you lose it. There's no other seating. You get a pretty good view of the fucking main stage from some of those seats.
Yep.
So you're right outside the bar, right outside the food places. Jesus Christ, you can get to those seats. You got the fucking prime part of Bloodstock open to you there. I don't understand, and I know this is again divisive, because it depends what you're into, right? For me, I couldn't give a monkeys about the strongman competitions. I couldn't give a monkeys about the gaming area. I couldn't care less about that stuff. I ain't there for that. That ain't part of the festival experience for me. And it's where I was saying it ties into the fairground, because I was going to give a monkeys about that. I get that some people do, and that's why this suggestion is again coming from a selfish perspective, but I do actually think it makes sense. I would personally take something out, and I would put 100 fucking picnic benches, put a covered fucking marquee over the top of it, where people can go and have a sit down, eat their food, have a drink, and then get up and move on to go and see the next band. Which maybe would take away a large proportion of the population's need to carry a chair with them.
True.
Bloodstock ain't fucking providing any seating. And in fact, there are more seats in VIP than there are on the rest of the festival site in total. That is the truth of it. So, think of other things like possible benefits from this, right? So,
Brendan,
if I have
1 second. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Get in. What are you doing? Get in. Sorry. I can hear him fucking bouncing something out there.
So if I have a central seating area, I also have a central eating area.
Yep.
Right by where all the food places are.
Yep.
Which means I can also have a central bin area, which means that I can have people come and sit at a bench, eat their food, and put the food in the fucking bin, rather than be like, well, there ain't nowhere to sit. Let's go and sit at the back of the New Blood stage, eat our food, and then walk off and leave our rubbish there. I'm not saying that's Bloodstock's fault. That's people's fault. However, to try walking around eating your food like after 3 days, like trying to eat out of your hands while you're going, or balanced food like while you try and sit down and stuff like that. I don't understand like why everyone's like, I've never understood it, and I never will. Like, do you know what Bloodstock's missing? Some 80s arcade machines. That's what it's missing. I just want a fucking seat. And I don't even want to use it for long. I just want to be able to go, do you know what? I'm going to go and grab something, take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Go and grab some food, come over here, sit down, eat me food in the bin, move on. I've had a rest. I've eaten my food. The rubbish is in the bin. I'm off to see the bands again. I don't even need a chair, because do you know what? If I need a rest, I can actually go and sit in the chairs. And actually, that may link into the other thing, because you know what? At the end of the day, if you ain't going to provide any seating for people, they're going to provide their own.
Of course. Here's the thing: is this is a suggestion I've actually seen come up as well in comments and stuff like that, and it's one where it almost makes you go, it just makes complete sense. Why not? Like, why not? I'd really like to understand why not. Because
sorry, I know you're going to go on there, because I forgot the link in, right? So this was the link into what you were talking about earlier on the New Blood stage, right? And I just thought of it then when you were saying that. You know what? If you're going to take the bands off there at 6 o'clock, which is prime kind of eating time for a lot of people, take the bands off. The band are finished. Stick like 20 fucking benches in there. Just drag them out from behind the fucking tent and go, there you go. There's somewhere you can all go and eat your dinner right next to a lot of the food places, because there's nothing else happening here after 6.
Yeah, I think the biggest, most important thing is to keep those keep that area away from any of the stages. So that basically what you're avoiding then is a guaranteed situation where, and Lemmy's Bar is the example, where I'm going to sit here because I can see the New Blood.
Yeah.
The main stage.
I agree.
Yeah, it's the biggest.
I agree.
Thing.
That's why I said put it in a marquee as well. That's why I was like, yeah. So it's
I've seen this out. Have it covered, because of course if it rains and stuff like that, it completely makes it seems to make so much sense in that. I agree. I don't follow. I don't quite follow. I mean, I get it. Of course, these obviously the festivals designed for everyone. There are more than enough people who enjoy, I guess, the strongman stuff, the arcades and all that. From what I gather, I didn't go near it last year. I didn't. But what I gather, people were sort of saying that there was regular people in and there and all that. And yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why you'd be wanting to do that at a music festival. But hey, I mean, each to our own, right? Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I get that they enjoy it. I just
Okay,
right,
let's do it then.
You have. Yeah, all right. We're gonna go. Do you want to go first, then, and then I'll jump in?
No, well, you started this one, so I know what it is. I know where we're going with it, and it's a big one. It's a big one for us both, and it ties into problems we've experienced, stuff that frustrates us, but also stuff that we think's right. It's right for the bands. It's right for the festival. It's right for the fans. So yeah, take it away.
Yeah. So obviously, and this is like, whereas a lot of things, I understand they can't do anything about it, and I understand it's also personal taste.
Yep.
You know, this is different. This I actually think is a mistake on their part. I think they're making a mistake with this one. So obviously give the smaller bands more merch selling opportunities. I completely get main merch stand for Bloodstock. I get that. That's a generator of money that you need. And obviously people want it. You know, people want the Bloodstock merch. So it's not like that I want that gone. It's not. But you know, and also the fact that, you know, that's the headliner merch. That's the big boys store on it. So you give like a small corner of that to the bands. They can sell their merch for a short while, only on the day they play, and then it has to be gone again. And yeah, I just think it's a huge mistake. I think they could do so much better with it. They could stick another stall up just for them. They could stick it in a different corner. They could even just fucking put it in the New Blood stage. Just to be honest, right? As much as the New Blood stage can get packed out, on the side that's near the outside, there's always fucking room on the inside, man. Stick a couple of tables down there. Let bands sell merch for as long as they want to. It costs you nothing. If they choose to not, then that's on them. But give them the space so they can do it. That'd be like my worst suggestion. Don't get me wrong, because I think they should have more than that. Or even better, chop a couple of the fucking stalls in the shopping area. Put one there and like let the bands like the slam dunk scenario, you know, a tent there, small tent, ain't gonna cost you much. There's probably already tents available for it anyway, and let the bands set themselves up in there, and let's come and go as we please and buy our merch as and when we want. Support the bands that we all, including Bloodstock, shout that we're doing this for the bands, to let them sell some stuff.
It's that. It's exactly that. One of the most genius things that I saw was so going back to Slam Dunk 2021, the delayed event that took place in Leeds. So I'd never seen this at any other festival, and it probably is elsewhere, but I personally hadn't seen it. And we were stunned to see this standalone marquee, this standalone tent that was merch only. And you walked in, you queued, and you walked around tables where the bands were selling their own gear, and it rotated in and out depending upon who was playing and all that. And we were like, oh my fucking God, that is genius. All right, pick your right time to go. We went quite late as well. And in that, we got to meet a lot of the bands as well who were there and stuff like that. And we thought it was fucking genius. I thought it was genius because ultimately what we've struggled the most with is we will go to, so picture Bloodstock again, people who have the main merch area. So again, I 100% agree with Brendan. That stays. And that is Bloodstock's merchandise and your major bands. But obviously on the back walls, you'd often get some of the smaller bands, provided they've been able to get merch, but some of those ain't put up because the people behind there who are mostly doing a great job as well, trying to find what you need and boxes and pulling them out, all that kind of thing. You're just struggling because it seems like, oh, well, no, that corner's there for this band. And then it comes down because they're finished and someone else comes along. And only if they bring the merch and all that. And all you're thinking is, this could be so much more organized. And it's that. Or like, I cannot see why we don't have a fucking marquee or a tent, whatever you want to call it, in that shop area where it is exactly that. Tables are set up, just tables. And the bands for that day who play the New Blood and the Sophie maybe to a degree as well. Hell yeah, just those two stages. Oh, and the Jaeger obviously as well. Those three stages are in that for a certain amount of time. All right, your slot is from this point after your gig for 3 hours, and that's your slot. And I realize again, the problem is staffing potentially, because how do you trust the bands to just slot in and slot out and stuff like that? But I feel like they would I almost feel like bands would police themselves. So for example, if I'm a band that's told, all right, your slot is 1 to 4. That's when you can sell your merch, between 1 and 4. But from 4 p.m., another band is coming along to take your table. Well, you're going to fucking move, aren't you?
You're going to move. When they turn up anyway.
Exactly. Of course you're going to move. You're going to pack up and go. That's it. And that's it. And that just rotates and rotates. Because not only does that also give them an opportunity to sell the merch in a quieter, more straightforward fashion, what it also does is do this great fan and band interaction. where the band is selling a merch behind there. So you get to chat to them. Maybe they'll sign something for you. Maybe you get to say, it's all this sort of stuff and that aspect more than anything else. And I don't know if it's because like there's a fast turnover in new blood and the band's really busy and can't quite do this and all that kind of thing. Maybe they got to go do press and all that. But you've got band members, DVD shit up. Up. Right.
The drummer goes, their gigs, isn't it?
Yeah, you do it at gigs, right? It's one of those where I generally feel like it's such I don't want to say simple because I don't know the logistics behind it. I don't know the planning. I don't know the cost of even the smallest things. I just don't. But it feels like to me, it would be such a vast improvement. And it's something I see. Bloodstock does so much right, so many good things right. But yet this I've seen another festival do. And I'm like, that is what everyone should be doing. Every festival. Like that's the bar setup.
It's one of the few things I could genuinely, out of all the things, even the things that we've mentioned, it's one of the few things I would genuinely say that out of everything that happens at Bloodstock on this, they're miles behind other people. Everything else, I think they're fantastic on. And yes, obviously we're doing our kind of sort of complaints list as such, but none of it like to the impact where it's like, oh, I ain't going Bloodstock.
Not at all.
But with this, the whole message of Bloodstock, the ethos of Bloodstock for me, is like we said in our 5 things we would never change, like the bands, the leg ups you give, the new blood stuff and everything like that. I just, I think they do all of that fantastically. I just feel like there's just one little thing missing, just giving us that central kind of merch place, and really be perfect.
Yeah, we'd absolutely fucking love it. And I don't want you to get stuck in it.
Spend a fortune in there. I know we would, man.
Yeah. Now times, man, where it's been like, I'm going to look for this specific band's merch because so many new blood and all that, and it just can't.
I've had situations as well. I'm sure you have too, where I've gone up. It's not their fault because they genuinely are working very hard behind the merch stand. And they're all very lovely and very nice and everything like that. But you go up and you speak to them and you say like, have you got anything from this band? And they're like, who?
Yeah,
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't think so. And you're like, oh, okay. So I don't know if those bands are then coming back going, hey, have we sold any merch? And they're like, no, taking their full boxes away. But I'm trying to.
I know that's.
No one can sell a band's merch better than the band themselves, man. And actually, in a way, would it mean that Bloodstock needed less? I'm not saying that to get rid of people, but less volunteer staff and less staff around and all that sort of stuff. Because actually, if the bands are selling their own merch, you don't need people to be policing that for you.
I don't know how popular. I don't know how popular like Bloodstock specific merch and like the main sort of stage headliners and all that is. What I gather it tends to actually be, considering the queues tend to be quite focused.
We went to that. I know this is different every year, like so you can't judge one year as it's always this way, especially last year being an anomaly year. Yeah. But we went up there. There was a couple of there was like a couple of, I think they were like grey kind of hoodie Bloodstocky t-shirts there last year, and we went up there on the Saturday, Sunday, and they were all sold out, all of it. Yep. It was all gone. So.
His thing is, I don't want people to get stuck on us sounding like we're complaining about a fucking festival we adore. That's not the case. I don't see these complaints. These are the 5 things we'd like to see change as we go forward. Things that we think could be improved.
These are elongated versions of your Facebook comments, people.
That's it. That's the biggest thing I think as well, is these are stuff that we're hearing common themes of as well. But it ties into some of the fact that there's still so fucking much that is done so fucking well. Because of course you can start being really pedantic about it. Until we're at the festival this year, we won't know, I want to see more toilets in the VIP area and stuff like that. All these little fucking things and things like that. We ain't even there yet. Who knows?
I want 3-ply toilet roll.
Yes. Well, we bring it around, man. Fucking hell. I want 10 feet of space around my tent in VIP. Of course, it's all individual things. I feel like certain things like the chairs and the merch might be something most people can agree with. Even if you like someone that needs to sit down, I think you can probably understand as well, a problem is growing and it might need to eventually be looked at in some way. And also, I can't see anyone being anti more bands able to sell merch. Like, how could you be anti that? No. You've kind of got the wrong priorities there. And hopefully you all agree with our view on the influx of easy fucking cheesies, stuff like that. But normally, this video, right? I can't believe this. This video was supposed to be 20 to 30 minutes. We have pretty sure we are hitting nearly 2.5 hours. what the fuck happened? What can I honestly say? What can I say about that? But it is a festival we feel so passionately in love about that. Ultimately, we're talking about the bands that are going to be there, and we're talking about the things we love and the things that we wish were a little bit better, and we're talking about excitement and kind of building up to it as much as we possibly can, because ultimately we're human beings with day lives as well. And already I'm like, okay, cool. As I said at the very start of this, I'm just done a big block, but I'm still facing down another one. Next week, I start my run of nights, and then it's the build and stuff like that. But there is the sense of like, it's getting closer, and I start to think like all the things we've been talking about, I can picture clearly in my head. And while I don't want certain things to be exactly the same, of course I don't. We've just talked about that. I'm also like, hey, you've been navigating this for many, many years and still had a thoroughly fucking great time. Like I've never had a bad time at Bloodstock. And I've also been when I was severely unprepared and we had torrential downpour. That was the first one of the earliest festivals of Bloodstock we went to. So got so wet that we had to leave early Sunday during the day because we were soaked. We were all prepared for that at the time. We've been during rainy times. We've been during muddy times. I can't remember what year it was where we kept having those really heavy showers. Really heavy showers. And there was one that hit the VIP area and everybody kind of scattered. Do you remember that one? I can't remember what year that was.
I do. It worked out quite well for us in some ways, because that was because of the rain. It meant that we had to interview Sabaton indoors in the green room with the chandeliers and all that.
That was the year. That was the year. That really nice little back area. You're right. That was that year. So we've done what we've experienced where it's been super fucking hot and got burnt to a crisp. We've experienced the COVID period one from 2021 where it was busier than usual. We continue to love and adore this fest. I really want to hammer that point home because I hate it sometimes when kind of like it seems like you just criticize them over and again. And it's like, no, the idea is supposed to be constructive. And it's also based on the fact that I keep seeing these comments come up and talked about and discussed in open forums and things like that. It's like, well, clearly everyone kind of agrees on it. So that's really, really fucking cool. I'm not expecting any, I mean, it's literally July the 1st. So, and I'm not saying like Bloodstock would watch this and be like, those guys are right. But you kind of hope that if loud enough amount of voices, it's a number of voices more than anything else, particularly when it comes to feedback, continues to sort of say the same things, then, okay, I still feel like Bloodstock 2022 is Bloodstock recovery. I really still do. I think it's a recovery for every festival, whether it was Download, Hellfest, Glastonbury, Reading and Leeds coming up, or it's all recovery as we try to get through these lineups and these setups that were built years before. Because I mean, that Bloodstock's no difference. We're still very much in that case. I also think there's a lot of unsure because we're still, at least in this country, in this scenario where we're not quite sure how things will pan out over the next year. We're not just talking about the current cost of living crisis, the issues in Ukraine that are affecting the world, the B word, aspects like that, they're all still sort of hanging there. And it's like it feels like the ground still isn't quite level and we're still maybe not too sure what costs might increase, what it might affect this part and that part and so on. And I think maybe by next year, hopefully, things will feel a little bit more solid, and these recovery festivals that we experienced this year will have been out of the way, and we're building for a fresh kind of thing. And maybe that's part and parcel of it. It might also be, say, the time that Bloodstock already acknowledged that they will be increasing ticket prices next year. That's part and parcel of that. The whole, okay, cool, recovery is done. Now we're building, and we've got to build towards that. So I definitely think that's a really exciting kind of thing when it comes to these sort of regular suggestions. We don't run a festival. We don't fucking promote or do a gig. So we're not experts in this. We're just paying attendees. That's a super important thing, just like you, just like everybody else. And we want to have the best experience, not just for us, but for everybody else who comes with us, for you guys as well, and the aspects like that. Nothing's worse than you kind of realize that everyone's getting a bit miserable or a bit hot under the collar because this isn't going right. I remember Sunday last year when the stores started to run out of food and the queues were getting stupid long and they all started to fuck around with their prices and the quality of the food. I bought the same meal on a Friday, on a Sunday, and fucking hell, the quality was a joke between the two. From a great thing on a Friday to one of the worst things I ate at a festival all week on the Sunday. We don't want to experience that. I heard about beer shortages and stuff like that. And so I didn't, maybe because we were drinking from the VIP bar, we didn't really get involved, see that much of. But nobody really wants that, because ultimately what it does is it makes people unhappy and comfortable. And here's the thing. look, let's go back to the last festival we just attended, the one-day festival of Slam Dunk. Were you there in London that morning and experienced the fucking chaos of the non-working card machines, the cashless system that didn't work for what was an hour and a half to 2 hours?
Yeah, minimum,
Holy shit. Nothing could ever top that for wanky preparation. Like, that was terrible. It'll be Bloodstock already confirmed that it's a bit of both, cashless and non-cash. So you kind of like in that situation. I personally, that drives me nuts because I hate the idea of carrying loads of cash, but I'm also like, well, I can't go cashless, can I? Because you know,
can't trust the technology.
Yeah, and after just experienced Slam Dunk, you know, that madness. It's like, oh god, that technology failed, and it was a real fucking mess, and that aspect and stuff like that. So you know, it's not like mistakes and issues that are exclusive to specifically Bloodstock or anything like that. Like, Slam Dunk's been doing this for a very long time, and that happened to them as well. But it is just, it's a really exciting time when, you know, we've got more videos to come in the future as we build towards it. Top 10 bands to see, new blood bands, aspects like that. That kind of like, I think, build our own personal excitement. Because one of the things is the idea of these videos is often sometimes to get us excited and interested and reminding ourselves, because, you know, you're doing so, particularly in the website aspect, we're doing so many things, and we're doing album reviews, and we're moving to the next release, we're doing this and we're doing that, and you're trying to keep up with the published content and do some more and all that the sort of festival aspect gets forgotten about. I was a bit disappointed when I came to submitting our press accreditation request. I was adding the new stuff that we'd kind of done this year, and I was like, shit, we haven't done as much as we normally would. And I was a bit like, fuck, that's not great. And I was kind of like, yeah, but you also know that from July onwards, it tends to be when you really ramp up, because it's the build towards the festival. That there's no point sending out pre-features to bands at the festival in fucking May. It has to wait till July. And I'm like, oh God, is that going to reflect badly on us? And I'm like, no, but you have 6 pages of documentation with links based off all the way back to 2016. Like, you know, you're doing that, but the imposter syndrome sinks in. And it's like, oh, you know, and stuff like that. And then I worry about doing a video like this. I'm like, oh God, are we just criticizing the festival? Are we going to sound anti them? And I'm like, well, no, we're also being honest. We're also honest people. We're not paid shills. We're not like, oh, okay, cool, we get this, so we're going to give you this and stuff like that. As I cannot reiterate enough, we are paying goers. We have never to date ever asked for a freebie from Bloodstock in regards to tickets or any aspects like that, and that has continued. Mainly because I'd be very worried that we get rejected, but also we do VIP. So what we, you know, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna happen. So it's as simple as that. But also, like, imagine being like, oh, I want to go to Bloodstock, but I'm gonna wait till July when I can submit my press accreditation request, and hopefully I'll get a ticket that way.
Yeah.
Have a word with yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to go, get the fucking tickets, you know, behave like that aspect. Unless you're so confident that you're like, yeah, they always give it to me, be fine and stuff like that. Unless you're that kind of confident. We suffer from imposter syndrome, so that will never be the case with us. You know we deserve it. We know we've earned
yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, like we also have, and this goes for everything that we go to, we have a slightly different mentality, I like to think, on this as well, in that, you know, I can afford to buy a ticket. That's why I go to VIP. That doesn't mean I'm rich or anything like that, but I can get the money together, right? And just like I want to support a band, and just like I want to support everything else, I love Bloodstock. I love the festival, so I'll pay for my ticket, because that's me putting my bit back into Bloodstock.
Yeah,
you know, I'm happy to pay for it. Like, you know, if we were, as I said, it doesn't matter if it's not for this video, but, you know, I've been to many gigs and many festivals, as you have too, where 50% of the crowd are photographers, press, people like ourselves, who are all there on the guest list, on the free passes, for bands that are making fuck all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know. I will always feel the same way with this stuff. I just think, like, you know what, like, give your bit in, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we're all in this stuff, in this press game as well, for the same reasons. I ain't doing this. We don't do this for a career. We ain't making no fucking money out of this. We do this because we love metal. So I love metal because I love the bands in metal. So I want the bands to succeed. So how does me taking freebies out of every fucking gig help the bands or anything succeed, or Bloodstock or anything else? You know, don't get me wrong. It's nice every now and then. Not talking about the freebies for tickets, but, you know, like, I don't know, a little thank yous and like a little bit of I don't know, you can go backstage, all that sort of stuff. That's what we get out of it, and we enjoy that, you know. But like buying my ticket and buying my merch, mate, I ain't doing that. Like, I'm taking freebies out of bands that ain't making nothing. And Bloodstock, yeah, okay, it's a bigger enterprise, but it's something we love. I ain't trying to take my cut out of Bloodstock. It ain't for me. It's their cut.
Yeah, it's something. I know you feel it, and I feel it. It's just something we're very uncomfortable with. Call it, it just is, and it's not.
We get asked to come and fucking interview Metallica or Guns N' Roses one day. Then I want a free ticket.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying on that front. And it's not a holier than thou. Look at us, we're so much better. It's really not that. Because I know people like to twist things, and will twist them like that and just make it so, look how great you fucking are. You do this, whatever. It's really not that. It ties into the exact same thing which I'm saying, which is it's a mental thing more than anything else. We suffer. What I love the term imposter syndrome. I think it sums up a lot of my feelings sometimes. The awkwardness I feel after this doing press at Bloodstock for how many years, still feel it, still get nervous, still wonder if I belong and should be standing there with a camera and things like that. I get it with an interview on Zoom, and I'm like, okay, I'm really going to talk to this band, and my most recent one being Conjurer, for example, is an example of where I was doing like, you guys are too big, man. What are you doing talking to fucking gbhbl for? Do you know what I mean? Like Krang's out there, Metal Hammer's out there. What are you doing coming to talk to me for? That kind of thing, And I don't think that's ever going to go away. So I think like the idea of ever being in a position, but it comes down to what I said already. The idea as well that we wouldn't buy tickets because we were like, oh, we're going to get freebies. So we're going to risk. And so, well, we're not going to do VIP because we wouldn't be able to, but also we're going to risk the idea that we would not even be able to go just because we want those freebies. That seems insane. Even like the plan for like this year's sort of interviewing system, press will be no different than what we normally do. No different than we normally do, except for one thing, I think, which is simply put, it's been another year of interviewing. Hope I'm a fucking better conversationalist now than I was last year. Do you know what I mean? Like that aspect,
I'll try my best to hold the camera more steady each year.
Even, well, no, but don't forget, don't let Brendan play down his what's called achievements. What Brendan is amazingly good at is simply put, being the what would you call it, the fluffer, the fluffer,
the icebreaker. I
the icebreaker. Yeah, I'm not great at going up to people and talking and introducing and stuff like that. I tend to hang back, and Brennan will hunt down the bands, find them, talk to them, get chatting to them while I stand in the awkwardly going, right, let's do this. Yeah,
laugh
I love that.
Make him feel relaxed, and then be like, oh, right, here's Carl, he'd be interviewing you, and then it's all good.
Never run down as well Brendan's abilities as a cameraman too, because if you want an example of an interview where Brendan wasn't present for a very specific reason, so I was like, cool, this camera will be set up here, that'll be fine. Go watch the PIST interview for Bloodstock last year and watch how badly that goes because of, all right, fair enough, their alcohol inebriation is one thing, but without Brendan there to move the camera position, turn it, focus, pull it back, push it back, all those aspects.
You'd be surprised how many times you think like the dude's got a camera on a tripod, I'm just standing there behind it. You'd be surprised at how many times I'm picking that up and gently moving it right, moving it left, because nobody stands still. They're constantly moving.
I know, I bounce around.
Or the other biggest job of a cameraman, like, what you don't understand until you're doing it, is trying to fucking defend that tripod from passers-by.
Yeah. Walking across the front.
Yeah, walking straight across the front of it. No. And keeping yourself out of scene. There you go. That's four tasks I've got.
It's way more. We've been doing this. It's be, I think, our fourth year.
Yeah,
of doing this. And it gets more and more intense and more important. And it's going to be fun for that aspect more than anything else. But ultimately, as Brendan goes back to this, ultimately our goal and our reason for being there is this, no matter what, which is there are a ton of bands we want to see, from bands we've never seen to bands we really, really have and really, really enjoy, to the oddities and the chance to see something fresh and new in the new Blood stage. That's why we go to Bloodstock. We take the piss out of easy, cheesy, and the lack of being able to sort of wander around and pick up the new Blood merch as much as we want to. These are aspects, simply put, that while we would like to see improved, ultimately it's not the fucking deciding factor for it. That comes down to the sole important reason to go to any festival ever, music festival, and it's music, and it's that. It's the music, it's the bands, it's what we're there for. It's why you don't see us in the press area at certain points for very, very long periods of time. It's because we're seeing bands. Remember, we have to write reviews as well and do all that aspect. So it's all part of that experience. I don't even know what else we can say. We've kind of fucking covered everything that we wanted to cover. We covered more than I planned to.
Yep, we got a long video.
we have. Guys, say you got any thoughts, but if you made it to this point and didn't give up, honestly, well done you. I'm probably going to fucking title this just Bloodstock Talk or something like that, because it started off as, it has not ended up, but it's been fun. So you got any thoughts on it? Hey, do you got any thoughts on the things that we never want to see change, plus the things we would like to see change? You got any thoughts and opinions on the bands specifically as well, or just the ramblings on about our experiences up to do this point? And of course, hopefully we'll see you there. You know what to do, drop it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?